God damn, Michael. It is, this week is just, it's like, you save a little bit for E3 video game industry? Or are you just going to tell us all the things right now? Because, you know, I'm okay with you telling stuff, but it's going to be real stupid if, like, you know, the Microsoft conference starts and they're just out there like, you guys already know all this. It's like finding your presents early. It's like you're digging around in the back of your parents' closet. You just find all the presents early. Either that or how alternate title. Can you keep a secret, game industry? Can you keep a secret for any amount of time? Anyway, hey, everybody, welcome back to the Rage Select podcast. It's right here on Rage Select, and I'm Jeff.
I'm Mike.
And, yes, we have a slew, a fuck ton, a dump truck load full of video game stuff this week.
A lot popped up.
Yes. But before we do that, I'm sure that you watched it, and I watched. There's some new Arrested development out on Netflix. I don't know. What'd you think? What'd you think? Season 5, the first half of season 5.
It's a super mixed bag for me.
Yeah.
Because Lindsay sort of disappears after like 2 or 3 episodes.
You can really tell that she doesn't want to be anywhere in there. Buster kind of doesn't as well.
Buster just sort of, well, that one at least comes back eventually.
Yeah.
Or some of the other stuff. Like there's some really good jokes that I really liked. Like with Michael Cera hanging out with the college students in Mexico who are supposed to be learning Spanish.
Right.
But they're not learning jack shit in the entire time.
Yep.
Like there's some fun stuff, but overall, like I think I would have to see the second half to see how it all plays out.
Personally, I feel like the weakest part of it is the stuff that they carried over from season 4. Is that season 4
a lot too.
Took such a weird turn for a lot of the characters, you know, between George Sr. is emasculated and Job is gay, and like Michael is kind of a shithead now, and like all this stuff with George Michael and dating Rebel, and I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. Like, it was one of the least interesting things about the last season, the whole like, hey, let's make this about making Arrested Development the show, and Ron Howard's now a character on the show.
That is the weirdest part of the new seasons.
And so I don't know. What's weird to me is that when I was watching it, I was watching Michael Cera and what's her name, Alia
I can never say her name.
Sharkwat or whatever, who plays Maybe.
Yeah.
I love their interaction. I wish that the show was just about them. I wish it was just more about the two of them doing stuff, and then having everybody else on the periphery for a little guest here, a little guest there, you know, kind of coming in. I was actually talking with somebody about this earlier this week that I said, for all of its warts, and I know that people are going to be like, what? And stick with me here. Fuller House did it right. Because Fuller House took the kids from the old series, grew them. They have all aged. I was going to say it grew them all up. They digitally aged them. No, they just aged in real life. Now they're the main characters, but it's like the same style of writing. Like, I don't know what's going to happen this week. So Kimmy Gibbler is the goofy one now, and DJ is the Bob Saget character. And it's like they all live in the house together. They have their own kids, and then the characters from old Full House just come on every so often to just jump in and do a little fan service. Like, Uncle Joey's going to be babysitting this week and teach these kids a lesson about having fun. And
that can only work so well depending on the show, though, because, you know, Girl Meets World did the same thing.
Yeah.
The sequel, The Knight Rider, essentially did something very similar to that.
Yeah. I guess I'd rather have...
Roseanne, too, technically.
Let's not go anywhere near that right now.
It is a show that happened.
Yes. I guess that's just I'd rather them evolve the show rather than continuing to just keep trying to make more Arrested Development. Like, I'd almost rather, like, if they were going to bring Firefly back, I'd almost rather have them bring back Summer Glau and maybe like a few new people and one or two of the cast from the original, and then like in between a bunch of people have died or they've left or they've done whatever, instead of trying to just hang on to the past so hard. Because like, it's weird how, I don't know what it is, but like Will Arnett,
oh my God,
it looks so weird and different now.
He looks so fucking. He looked like he aged like 100 years between season 4 and 5.
Not to mention Michael Cera looks like he's gone. Like, it was already jarring from season 3 to season 4, but now it's just like he's so weird looking. You know, Jessica Walter is noticeably older.
Everyone, a lot of I think Jason Bateman's one of the few people that looks the same.
Yeah,
out of everybody.
And what's her name? The Lindsay.
Lindsay's. I can't remember her actual name.
She's barely in the show.
Yeah,
so.
her maybe's about the same.
Yeah, except that maybe they can, maybe he keeps wearing all this super tight clothes where I'm just damn, maybe. I actually really like.
She's only a year older than I am. Actually, I found out.
Well, there you go. I actually really like her plot. I like her because
it's the most fun.
She's moving forward. She's
not trying to.
Right? Yeah. Is that it's not there's so much of hanging on to the fake block and the Cinco de Cuatro.
I feel like it hung on to some of those things. Some of them sort of just disappear.
Some of them did, but a lot of it's just predicated going back to the whole Sweat Lodge thing. So much of it is hanging on to the previous season.
Yeah.
But I feel like even season 3 of Arrested Development picks a few threads from season 2, but it keeps evolving, whereas this one is so predicated on seeing if you went from season 3 to season 5, you'd have no idea what the fuck was going on with anybody because
absolutely.
of all the threads that have been dropped and thrown around and whatever. So I don't know. I like it better than season 4, but I just feel it's a shame that they focus so much on season 4. I don't know.
I can't say I like it more than season 4 right now, honestly, because season 4 tries building up some stuff, and then season 5 just goes, "Oh, don't worry about certain things. We're just going to retcon 90% of it," kind of thing. Although one of the choices makes sense because of Jeffrey Tambor's show Transparent, where they were going to make him be dressed like a woman through season 5, but then he did Transparent, so they had to drop that entirely.
Right,
which they make a quick subtle joke about it when they in the episode.
Yeah,
where he's like, "Oh, it's not going to win him any awards," and he actually won an award for it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. I mean, it is kind of interesting though that they've only released half a season.
I didn't even know they were going to do that until my roommate told me when we were watching it. So
yeah.
I was I had no idea.
When is the second half supposed to come out?
He said sometime in the fall. I just don't remember what he said.
What? It's not next week or something? You gotta wait until...
He said it was August or something.
Oh, God, fuck you, Netflix. That was your one saving grace was the fact that I got to binge watch,
That's what really confused me about it.
Yeah. Not even that, but and then the day after that, season 4 of Kimmy Schmidt came out.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And it's also half a season.
It's
also the first half of a season. It's 6 episodes. Because I watched 4 of them, and I was like... This is interesting. I feel like Kimmy Schmidt's been running on fumes a little bit. They really kind of resolved it during the first arc, but apparently the season 4 is the finale. Is that they're finishing the show? I like Kimmy Schmidt just because I like Tina Fey's writing style.
Yeah.
But I will admit that it's been kind of cannibalizing itself. It hasn't really had a good identity about where it's going. It's kind of like every time that we get into, oh no, what is who's the lady that plays Jenna in 30 Rock?
I just know her as Jenna.
Right. Every time it's woe is Jenna and her rich people problems. And I'm like, no, I just kind of want to see Titus and Kimmy do stuff. That's all I really care about. But it's been okay so far. I don't know. I'll be interested. Somebody said that as it keeps, because like I said, I'm at episode 4. As it keeps going, that it gets a little bit more dour and dark. Where Kimmy's just kind of losing faith in everything.
That's a little weird.
Which is okay. At least that's a way to take it instead of just spinning your wheels. 30 Rock, I felt like in the later seasons started to have that problem where it was just all right, you've done a lot of the person has X problem.
Yeah.
And that now you're just making up increasingly stupid shit for
it was written well though, which is why 30 Rock worked for me so well, even if it was ridiculous shit.
It's okay. The last 2 seasons I feel like in 30 Rock get a little I think that Parks and Rec did it better because they kept evolving, right? As you go from Leslie and then she runs for office and then
it also has a time skip though, which a lot of shows don't do too often. I know New Girl did that with their last season actually.
Yep. Well, what's
right,
interesting
I watched New Girl.
is that Parks and Rec did that, and then when they came back, it was the Leslie versus Ron thing, and you're just what happened?
Yeah.
What happened to Leslie and Ron? I just got done rewatching that because I think that Parks and Rec holds up better than 30 Rock. I like 30 Rock, but I think Parks and Rec. I think that 30 Rock and The Office and Parks and Rec. I'll go back and watch those all from time to time.
All three of those age really well. Although The Office's final seasons don't age as well as the other two.
Once Steve Carell leaves, it gets a little. It's okay.
Like there's some good character moments, but even then,
right? You've got the momentum to go forward. It is endearing though to watch Jim become Dwight's friend at the end of that series, where it's like he legitimately cares for the guy, and when he starts it, it's just kind of being a jackass.
Especially the end where he gets Michael to the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Michael has such a great line though at the final episode. It's like, "Oh, my kids grew up and married each other." It's every father's dream.
And then I really wanted to. I started watching Mob Psycho 100 because I wanted to watch the Netflix series so I could talk about that. It's okay. That's interesting because I just didn't get a chance to finish. As we just got done talking about watching 6 episodes of Arrested Development and 4 episodes of this thing, and it's interesting to me how much the anime of Mob Psycho 100 is just One Punch Man. It's just
it's worked on by the same guys and everything. So
but it's literally like the main character. Mob is just Saitama, except that he's not is sure of himself, right? Like he's like in middle school and he doesn't know his way, but he's also super powerful. It's like everybody feels like a remixed version of the characters from One Punch Man. I don't
think that's 100% true because he actually cares about the people that he's trying to hang out with, kind of thing.
Right.
Besides, someone just has one guy that he kind of cares about.
I'm not saying it's 1-to-1, but I definitely feel like there's parallels for each character.
Plus, the club he's in is the best. Those motivation dudes.
What's that?
Those motivation guys. They're so nice. Like you want, like you at the first time you meet him, it's like, man, I want to hate these guys, but they're so fucking cool.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. So you say, did you watch the Netflix show?
I haven't seen the Netflix show. I watched the anime because Joseph Compton got me into it.
Okay, I want to watch it, but I get the feeling that like it's so comedy heavy that I just don't see a way that you could do that with live action people and make it work, because the serious parts don't seem like they're super serious, and the comedy is so fucking anime and manga that I don't feel like it would translate into that. It would look stupid if you put it in the real world. And
that's always been the problem with translating or an anime into live action is that it rarely ever gets the comedy parts of it. Because seeing a person fall over in a cartoon, you can you can be like, oh, that's funny because the way it happens. But when it happens in real life, you're just like, well, that's just kind of weird looking.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Also, you can't do that thing where the person says something stupid, and then you did the big kind of smash cut crash where everybody gets the black lines on the top of their head, and they're just like, oh.
You could, but it just looks weird.
It would look really strange, right? Yeah. So I don't know, because Mob Psycho 100, like it has I obviously haven't seen it all. I've seen about 4 or 5 episodes of it, but
I'm like 7 or 8.
I'm at the episode where the other psychic guy shows up and they're having a big fight.
Yeah, right? That's a really good one.
But like the tone of it. It's got like an epic. It's almost like if you looked at it and all you saw were the epic parts, then you're just like, oh my god, and it's like, but no, but it's comedy. It's like One Punch Man is a comedy. These are not serious, even though serious things happen. The serious things are only to make the comedy punchline stronger, not because you're supposed to be like, oh my god, look at all the great action in Mob Psycho 100. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if I get a chance. I still though. Deadpool 2 Solo. I still
haven't seen them.
I haven't been able to see either one of them. So
Deadpool 2, they're both fun, very fun films.
Yeah, I'm far more interested in Deadpool 2 than I am in Solo. I'm actually kind of I felt like I got to go see Solo so I can watch all the videos on the internet of people bitching about why Solo is terrible. I don't know that I've seen quite as many of them as I would have expected, because I feel like every time a Star Wars movie comes out, everybody complains. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether it's any good or not. It's the thing. It's what we do. It's like Christmas on the internet. It's like, oh, new Star Wars. Let's complain about it.
Well, when I did the review, every time I had any criticism, Bo would just throw his hands up in the air and he'd be like, can't please Star Wars people. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know. It's... Yeah, I've had a really weird relationship over the last few weeks between Dark Souls Remastered, the Battlefield 5 trailer, like a video game complaining about stuff. which is the perfect segue, because you know what people love to complain about? Fallout. People love to complain about Fallout. It doesn't matter which one it is.
No.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Except for New Vegas. Everyone loves New Vegas. I rarely ever hear anything bad about New Vegas.
I used to say some bad stuff about New Vegas, and I still will say a few things about New Vegas. I feel like New Vegas is harder to get into. But anyway, yes, you are correct. But everybody loves to hate on Fallout, and now we have a brand new Fallout to hate on.
Yeah.
Fallout 76.
Guest starring John Denver.
Yeah. So there was
his song, at least.
There was a live stream last week where they did it was like a bobblehead for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I was there for a while.
Like and then they came out and showed this trailer for Fallout 76. Now, before we even get into it, I think it's really interesting that we're dealing with another Fallout, because we had Fallout 4 2 years ago, right?
Was it really only 2 years ago?
I think it was 2 years ago, because last year was the year of the second DLC batch. It was Fallout 4 came out, and then we had the first 3 DLCs. You know what? I can tell you.
It was one of the E3s. When I remember when they announced it, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, it's coming out this year," and I was like, "Holy fuck!"
I think it was 2 years ago, or no. Okay, wait a minute. No, that's not true. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. So not last year was Fallout 4 second round of DLC, and the year before that was the announcement and when it came out. Let's see, Fallout 4. I'm actually just doing this by looking up when we did a video for it, because that'll tell you. Is when Brian and I did the Fallout 4. That was I did a Midnight Madness for it. That was 2015, November 17th of 2015.
Yeah, it was when they announced Shenmue, I think.
Okay, so it was 3 years ago ish. 2.5?
about 3.
Yeah,
almost about 3. Because it was like November.
So I would have thought that after so much Fallout that we would have gone back to Elder Scrolls, but I guess they really feel like ESO is where the Elder Scrolls is for right now, or they're just starting work on a new Elder Scrolls game. But
probably.
It seems strange to me that we would see anything, and it also seems strange to me because this isn't a main Fallout game, right? This isn't Fallout 5.
Yeah, because
it's a spin-off of some sort.
There's a lot of rumors as to what it is. Like, one of the main ones is maybe it's just the builder based off of the stuff in Part 4.
Right.
Although I think one of my favorite things happened was on Reddit, where a guy said if this isn't a re-release of Fallout 3, he would chug a Tabasco sauce bottle. And he did.
Good God.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
So I think that Kotaku has a rumor, right? Where this is totally not confirmed, which is, well, first of all, okay, so in the trailer we see kind of shots of a nice vault, which we know that Vault 76 is not an experiment vault, that it's a regular vault.
Yeah.
We get a little, a terminal that says you're invited. Like all the stuff we see in here, this looks like a very nice vault, right? It's obviously not going to shit. There's a whole thing where there's a poster that talks about Reclamation Day. It says Celebrate Reclamation Day. This vault apparently has a soccer field at the bottom. And then we see somebody put on a slightly older looking Pip-Boy, right? And then we see the 76 logo on the back of their thing. Now, is it just me? I don't know. Do you Fallout, bro? Do you even Fallout?
Not really.
Okay. I feel like most of the Fallout vault suits have yellow letters, not gold letters. This one has gold 76 on the back, not just like yellow. Like it's usually a flat. I only say that because that blue and that yellow were my high school fucking team colors. Go Panthers!
You were the Fallouts, apparently.
Yeah, class of '96. What? No, I fucking hate high school. I hate high school so much. So Fallout 76. So that's what we know. 76. The Vault 76 has been mentioned in Fallout 3 and then Fallout 4 as, again, a control vault.
Yeah, somebody put up like a list of some of the vaults, and I think Vault 77 was a guy and a bunch of puppets. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
The 76 apparently was like, the repopulation one or some shit.
No, the vaults are interesting because they were all like social science experiments. There's one, and a lot of times you'll find out because you go in there and everybody's dead, and then you start reading the logs on the computers, and you're just like, fuck, man. Like one of them was they just put a bunch of like drug addicts in one of the vaults.
Oh, God.
And then they had them all get like super clean, like by supporting each other and blah, blah, blah. And then after like a certain number of days, like it just unlocked a secret door that just had a huge stack of like drugs and weapons, and then they all just fucking got high and killed each other, and that's what happened.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, what were you experimenting for? Anyway, a lot of the biggest thing right now that Kotaku, which again you always take with a grain of salt, as rumors, is that this is going to be like Rust or like Ark, where it's going to be like an online working together to kind of build shelter and put resources together, kind of a survival game, but then you'll be fighting with other people, maybe. I mean, that's what happens in Rust.
So it's like
right?
the multiplayer to Metal Gear Solid 5 kind of thing? Where you build stuff and fight each other?
Sort of. I'd say more like DayZ.
No, I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah, because nobody played the multiplayer.
No one really played the multiplayer.
But it does bring to mind a strange question of just like, that's interesting. Who would have thunk, right? Is that Bethesda hasn't made a game like that in a long time, hasn't made anything that's not, or do we even know that this is Bethesda? Or
that's the thing, is like, is this mainly them, or is this like one of the other side shoots of that company?
No. You know what? This is mostly being worked on by there was a company here in Austin, Bethesda Austin, that was working on a game called Battle Right. You remember that? Where it was like a steampunk. It was like a world where guns had been outlawed, and it was a multiplayer thing where it's like you played as like steampunk knights, essentially. I actually used to know a guy who worked over there.
Yeah, a coworker told me about that recently.
Yeah, and that game got scrapped, but that company is working on this, so they do have. And that was like 4 years ago.
That was a while back.
That was announced. So whoever this is has been working on this for a little while, and they're probably like the lead, I guess. I think they're getting support from the other Bethesda studios in the way of like assets and stuff like that. I don't know. It remains interesting to be seen, and it does kind of put an interesting question on like. Obviously, they're going to show this at the Bethesda conference. So I don't know. Do you have any interest in playing the game that I just described?
I don't know, because the thing is, like I said, I'm not super in the Fallout. Like, it wasn't a series that I really got into.
Yeah.
But a lot of people really like the building aspect of Fallout 4.
I fucking hated it so much.
I didn't say but
No.
but yeah,
I wasn't saying that as a refutation.
No, yeah, it's just that. Yeah, I don't.
I hated it.
I saw a lot of people, on the internet that really did like the building aspect of it. That they ended up spending most of their time literally just doing that at some point, and so I could see that being really good for them. But I don't know about other people.
Yeah. Well, the thing I guess that I wonder is that like Rust and DayZ and games like that have a they do have like a reputation for being very like brutal, unforgiving games where it's like they usually have a very steep learning curve, and a lot of times if it's online, it's like you can get jacked immediately. Like you'd be trying to get your game together and survive, and then somebody just comes and takes all your shit because they've got better guns than what you have.
Yeah, because there was that Conan game that was like an MMOE kind of building thing. People were just robbing each other every 20 seconds.
Yeah, so I wonder what they're going to do. I also wonder a lot of times with games like that whether there's going to be a single player campaign, and if that's going to be to prepare you for the multiplayer, or if there is, how.
Which brings me back to Metal Gear Solid 5, which did the same thing.
Right. How much can you build or how much can you play by yourself is really the question that I need answered. Because if it's just a multiplayer Fallout game, I'm like, well, I mean...
Yeah, I don't see myself doing that.
I'll try it, but unless it's super good, like, I don't know. Anyway, so apologies to all of you fans of New Vegas who thought there was going to be a New Vegas 2 or New Vegas Remastered. Who knows? Maybe there still will be.
It'll have John Denver songs, at least.
Yeah. Everybody's so goddamn concerned with John Denver these days.
I don't know. He pops up a lot lately.
Okay. I'll tell you what else is popping up. It's not John Denver. Also, wait a minute. I didn't notice this is like a toilet trophy in this Fallout 76 trailer. I didn't notice that was a toilet. Speaking of toilets.
Gold.
Pokemon.
What?
I don't know. Pokemon.
Well, you can play it on a Switch on your toilet. Let's go with that.
Yes, sure. No, it's a toilet game. It's a dog-fighting toilet game. Pokemon Switch. What is it called? Pokemon.
Let's go Pokemon.
Let's go Pikachu.
Eevee.
So this is.
Let's go Mr. Steak.
Not the Pokemon RPG that they've already announced. That is coming out in 2019. It's a different game. This is like some kind of a half step between Pokemon Go and that game.
it seems to fuse with it. Like I guess it connects somehow.
Yeah.
Like, but now there's like a Pokeball.
Well, the big thing is you can play with
accessory.
Yeah, you can play with one hand, and you literally use the motion controls to throw Pokeballs. You can play co-op with other people. It looks like you can battle.
Yeah, they're all trainer battles. There's no like random battles.
Okay.
Apparently.
And then there's a new $50 Pokeball accessory where it's like literally a Pokeball where the little dot in the middle of it is an analog stick that you can use to move around, and you can kind of throw it. But not just that, you can put Pokemon in it, take them out in the world, and then they'll talk through the speaker in the ball. Not just that, but it's
like the Pokewalker, except more elaborate.
It says that also, who knows what'll happen if you take them outside. And then apparently you can move data from Pokemon Go to this game. You can
which is really smart for them to do, actually.
Yeah.
Because that thing really needed a little more support.
It is a little strange though that because the Switch doesn't have any kind of GPS thing, that it's disconnected, right? You're catching Pokemon in the world with Pokemon Go and then transferring them over to the Switch. I don't know. What are your feelings about this, Michael?
I think it's a really smart idea. It gives people something to. It gives a reason for people who are still playing Pokemon Go to keep playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
and it also gives a lot of people a reason to keep using their Switch while they wait for another Pokemon game.
Yeah,
and I actually think it's a really, really good idea because a lot of people have been saying for a long time that they want Pokemon Go to mean something more than just a phone game kind of thing. And I think this is a good way of doing it.
Do you what are your Poke feelings? Are you a fan of the Pokemons?
I like Pokemon a lot, but I'm not nearly as into it as say some of my friends are to this day.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder again, this is kind of a question for me of wondering how much of a game is there for me just to sit down and play this at home? Is it really meant to be played with all the Pokemon Go connectivity and going out into the world? Because I don't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be out in the world playing Pokemon Go.
That's perfectly fair, though.
I want to play it at home. And so the question is, how much of a game is there just for me to sit here and play with? Because everything in this trailer is play it with your friend. Take it in the world. Transfer Pokemon Go characters. And I'm I don't want to do any of that. I want to sit on my couch and I want to play a Pokemon game.
That's kind of how the Switch is nowadays, where it's do a bunch of social things. And it's that's not why I have a game system.
Right. So I wonder how much of a game there is here. But it is interesting. They seem like they're really going in because then we also had Pokemon Quest, which is just a fucking phone game that came out. Matt and I played a Patreon video.
Those the little cube ones?
Yep. Yeah, everything is a cube, and it's literally you're creating a 3 Pokemon squad. You could set the game to auto battle, right?
Oh, okay.
So for the second half of the video, Matt and I just set the controller down and let the Pokemon kill each other. And then, you have a certain number of turns every day. But, I don't know. This one's interesting, especially, and I think that this Pokeball accessory is interesting, but it's $50.
But people are gonna buy the shit out of it. I guarantee it.
Yep. No, I mean, this is a no-brainer for a Pokemon fan.
Absolutely.
For anybody that's a fan of Pokemon, I actually wonder whether Switch sales will go up because Pokemon fans are finally going to have a reason to get a Switch.
A lot of times, consoles tend to get a huge jump when a Pokemon game is announced or a Smash Brothers game is announced.
Yep.
I know that happened to the Wii U. It happened to the 3DS. When they announced the Pokemon games for that, people they'll buy something if it has something they really want.
Sure. No, I mean there was an article that I read a long time ago that was talking about how Nintendo learned that because Game Boy sales tripled after the first Pokemon game came out on Game Boy. It was 2 years into the Game Boy's lifespan when the sales were starting to kind of come down, and they put out Pokemon, and it was just everybody wants one of these now. So
it keeps happening to this day.
Yeah. Anyway, y'all have to tell us in the comments what you think about the Pokemons. I also don't know why anybody would buy the dumb Eevee version.
People really like Eevee.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure that's true.
I'm not saying I am, but I'm saying
I'm fucking Team Pikachu, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'd get Pikachu if I got it.
Electric fucking rat for life.
He's my bro.
What's that?
He's my bro.
Pikachu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Forever and ever.
Yeah. And then finally, well, not finally, next on the list, speaking of things that are coming out soon, we got a leak and a confirmation all on the same day of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is going to be the next Assassin's Creed game. It got announced it got leaked basically due to a keychain.
Keychain?
Yeah, as near as I could tell, that well, it was leaked and then it was confirmed with this like collectible like Greek helmet keychain thing, and then
It's like a Spartan helmet.
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed Twitter account put out a video that was basically just like a dude Sparta kicking another dude off of a cliff.
Jesus.
And it says, see you at E3. So, yeah. There's a good possibility this isn't coming out until March of 2019, which still puts it in the 2018
that sounds about right.
fiscal year, which is a little interesting.
I like the idea, though.
Yeah.
Of an ancient Greek, Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm.
Although I wonder if it's going to use any mythology with it, especially with the title like that.
It's interesting that color palette and everything that we're seeing here does look very Assassin's Creed Origins to me. Like it almost feels like a big expansion pack for Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which had like all the Roman stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm a little bit burned out on Assassin's Creed. I kind of wish they would go modern, right?
I've been burned out on it for a long time, though.
Yeah. The last one was okay, but the character, it was like, oh, we kidnapped your son and killed him, and now you're on a mission for revenge. And it was just like, fucking give me a break, man. Like,
well, ever since the end of 3, you don't really have anything that's like keeping you to want to keep following it.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing about the original Assassin's Creed games is like, oh, it's all about this one guy and his journey to find out this big mystery. And so it's like mystery solved. And, oh, by the way, you didn't get to make the decision he did. So it's like, okay. And then there's no reason after that for you to really care, because every other game after that was when you're in the real world, you're like, you're a game developer, I guess, or you're just some dude playing a game or something. And I'm like, I don't really care anymore because of all this.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that they would stick with I never finished Origins, but that was like it's gotten so fucking convoluted where the first time in Origins where you leave the Animus and it's like, oh, I'm a rogue Abstergo employee and my ancestor was in this tomb and I'm trying to find new data for Abstergo, and I'm just like, who fucking cares?
Yeah,
like,
they keep coming up with lame real world excuses. I use quotes with real world because it doesn't make any fucking sense every time they do it.
Yeah.
And hell, yeah, a modern day one would be kind of nice. Hell, a lot of people like to pretend Watch Dogs is basically just modern day Assassin's Creed.
It was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, yeah. But it's just one of those things. It's like, just do that then. Mm-hmm. Like we like the idea of the modern part of it. Like part 3 gave us a little bit of that for like a small tiny taste, and then you guys were like, no, we're good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I need something. I need something to tie it together. I mean, they did well enough when it was like, hey, pirates. And I'm like, I like pirates. Cool. You made a good pirate game. Great. But Assassin's Creed Black Flag was barely about the assassins and the Templars.
Oh, absolutely.
It was much more kind of yo-ho, yo-ho.
Had some great glitches, though.
Yeah. But so I don't know. Maybe we'll see. The main problem I'm having here recently is just that, yes, you're right, is that the story has been so convoluted. It's just like, go back to the origin of the Assassin Order, and it's like, fucking who cares?
Like, but why though? Because
here's the first Templars. Like, I don't care. Like, they keep getting defeated. Like, the Templars never win. They always get fucked. They're always shitty. Like, it's like the games want to have this deep meaning about like, what is freedom? And it's like, you already had that conversation. Like, for 4 games you had that conversation.
Like 1 through 3, like it had reasons for you to go back into these ancient times because you're trying to beat them at this like specific thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, well, you're just doing it because we want to make a game about assassins, I guess. I don't know. That's
why Rogue was the most interesting game over the last 5 that came out, was because it was like, oh, hey, this guy's a Templar, he's an ex-assassin who leaves the Brotherhood of Assassins to go work for the Templars because he thinks the assassins are jerks. And I'm like, great.
That was a great idea.
Great.
And
wonderful.
Some of the comic stuff was really interesting too. But overall, like the thing that I'll always give Assassin's Creed credit for is it'll make games based on time frames that other games won't be able to really make interesting in any way.
Absolutely. I don't know. Again, I guess we'll see at E3. I mean, if they come out with a good trailer, maybe, but...
Maybe you'll meet Odysseus.
I do kind of hope that they change the combat system, because I really wasn't a big fan of the kind of, like, aping Dark Souls-ish combat system that they had, because it was like a stamina meter, and then it was very numbers heavy, so it was like, if your axe isn't high enough, if your armor isn't high enough, then this purple enemy will kill you in one shot. And it was like, I kind of missed the Arkham Asylum counter combat.
Yeah, but it used to be so easy to just keep hitting counter and murdering everything.
Yeah, again, though, that's a question that it comes back to Bethesda a little bit, is that, Skyrim always, or like Bethesda's RPGs, Fallout, Skyrim, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. They always end up getting broken, right? You always end up breaking them eventually. But that's okay, because, at least for me, the main draw of those games is not combat, because they've never been very good at combat.
That's fair, actually.
I don't mind being able to just walk through the Assassin's Creed games, because I'm more interested in doing cool shit and then having a good story than I am about, like, oh, am I really able to beat this level 14 guard who can one-shot me with this weird dodge, roll, block, parry, counter. Like, I don't know. It works for something like God of War. It's just in Origins.
Yeah, because one of my favorite ones was, do you remember Brotherhood, where you're supposed to run from like a prison or something because you go to rescue somebody?
Maybe.
And the game just tells you have to run. I stood there and murdered what had to be 40 guys.
Yeah.
And then I spent like half an hour just looting them.
Yeah.
Because they were all dead. No one was chasing me. And the game kept saying, you have to run. I'm like, no one's after me. They're literally all dead in front of me.
Yep. I don't know. We'll see. All right. From there, we're going to move on to some bummer news. These are just kind of weird stories. So, okay. Last week we got a game announced on Steam called Active Shooter. I don't know if you've seen this or not.
No.
Oh boy, howdy. So this was a game where you could play as either a person in a school shooting up civilians,
Jesus, or
a SWAT team trying to take down an active shooter in a school, or the developer said later he was going to implement you are one of the people in the school. You need to hide and try not to die while the person is shooting people in a school.
That actually, amazingly enough, sounds kind of interesting, though.
Well, it looked like garbage. It looks like an asset flip.
Though.
It looks absolutely stupid. So this got real dumb in a hurry.
I'm not surprised.
Of course, the normies, the muggles, got wind of this and were like, ban this sick filth. And then, of course, the gamers got wind of this. They were like, First Amendment, don't censor us. It's just a game. And it was real stupid. And then the guy that was making it was like, well, I don't understand. It's just a game about shooting people.
Oh God.
Like, there's games like Hatred and Rainbow Six where you shoot people, and I don't see what the big deal is. You could play from either side. It's like, no, you're being woefully fucking ignorant here.
That's clearly fucking with people.
Yeah. And you're obviously doing this to drum up controversy in order to get people. So that happened. And for my 2 cents, look, man, yes, you can make a game about being in a school shoot. You can make whatever garbage game you want. As far as I'm concerned, though, Steam shouldn't be. If Steam decides that they would like to delist your game, that's not like a my rights thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, Steam is a private company. Steam can put whatever the fuck they want to on Steam, and Steam can arbitrarily take whatever the fuck they want to off Steam. And the last thing that I feel like you want is that Steam wants is for parental groups to get involved trying to say whatever.
Yeah.
You can sell this shit on your private website. You can sell this shit off of a website with a PayPal link. It's not a problem. You can set those tools up.
Yeah.
Whatever. You put it on Steam because you knew it would get traction on Steam, and the people would get shitty about it, and they get in the comments, right? So that happened. Later in the week, Valve pulled the game from
As
Steam.
you do.
But maybe not for the reasons that you think.
They what?
So Valve said, quote, "We have removed the developer, revived games, and publisher Acid from Steam. This developer and publisher is, in fact, a person calling himself Ata Berdiev, who had previously been removed last fall when he was operating as BC Interactive and Elusive Team. It turns out that this guy has been on Steam before and has been kicked off of Steam before for doing asset flips, creating games that he's done review manipulation and general trolling and been a kind of a shitty person, and so Steam has already kicked him off.
Yeah.
Last year or previously, the last time he was kicked off is because he made a game called Pickled Rick. PICCLED RICC that was this horrible asset flip with a pickle mod, and then you were killing rats, and it was just garbage. It was just for shit. Before that, he also made Fidget Spinner Simulator, Tide Pod Challenge Simulator, like just garbage.
Just meme shit.
Dumb meme shit, yeah. And so they've kicked him off. They also said, though, at the end, quote, "Ata is a troll with a history of customer abuse, publishing copyrighted material and user review manipulation. His subsequent return under new business names was a fact that came to light as we investigated the controversy around his upcoming title. We are not going to do business with a person who acts like this towards our customers or Valve." And the last thing here is the broader conversation about Steam's content policies is one that we'll be addressing soon. So,
oh geez. I just saw the last title on there. It says White Power Pure Voltage.
What?
The one right after Tide Pod Challenge?
Oh, yeah.
What a fucking name.
Yep. I don't know what that one is.
I don't know either. I don't want to know.
It's interesting because I think a lot of this comes to a question of, like, Steam. I didn't even talk about it last week, but Steam has been kicking a lot of games off for a lot of the porno games. Visual novels, right?
Quotes.
Yeah. Which is interesting because, and I don't know how people feel about it. I personally am one that, like, Steam,
they have the right to do it.
They have the right to do it.
That's how my thought. It's the argument we have about the AO thing kind of thing with Agony, where it's like every retailer has the right to say we're not going to sell this.
Yeah,
kind of thing. And Steam is just doing the same thing. That's all it is.
I mean, yeah. There's no reason that, like, I don't know. This isn't an apt metaphor anymore, but, like, to me, it's like you demanding that your local video store also carry porno. Is that you like? It's up to them whether they want to stop porno or not, right? Steam is still a privately held company. It's not a service, right? So there are alternatives. Like, it's easier than ever to sell a game through your own website. Now, you will not get the exposure, but that's the same as selling a game that's AO rated. Walmart won't put that on the shelf.
It's like a Blockbuster.
Exactly.
Like the Blockbuster's not going to carry the porn.
Right.
Like your local place will, but your Blockbuster's not going to.
Exactly. So, you know, people who are just like, burr, censorship. I don't know, man. I feel like there's, like, if you're looking for a way.
Kids Google Blockbuster, by the way.
This is the thing that I say a lot of times with a lot of different, whenever people get really up in arms about censorship, is if you think that Active Shooter is a fun game title that you would like to play, then this guy should finish making that game and make it for sale on his website, right? He's gonna generate keys off his website. He's going to send them out to people, set up some kind of automation between PayPal link that you can pay him $20 on his website. Steve doesn't even take a cut at that point. So if this is such a good idea and so many people want to play this game for realsies, not to make people mad, not to stick it to SJWs or whatever, but if you legitimately feel like this is a good game and you'd like to play it, then this guy should finish his game. He should put it up on a website, and you should go buy it off that website. And this guy will make a whole bunch of money, and then everybody will live happily ever after.
It's not even the most fucked up thing, like, game-wise I've ever seen. Like, I remember, this was years ago. I don't even remember what year it was. I remember I was watching the news, and somebody made a JFK assassination simulator. Where you could straight up just recreate the assassination of JFK.
Pretty sure.
And in fact, they offered it like $10,000 if you could do it exactly like it happened.
I think that game might still be on Steam.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was on the news. Like, people were losing their shit over it.
But you know what? Like, there was also, I'll just be completely clear here, Super Columbine RPG. You know, there's a guy that made the Columbine, like an RPG maker, who I think the guy was at Columbine, if I'm not mistaken, and like was kind of working through his feelings about it by creating this game about it. And it was, it's called JFK Reloaded.
When did it come out?
Sorry, I just switched over. This is 2004.
Okay. That's how long ago that was.
But
all over the news. All over it.
Yeah. But you know, the thing is that I am not. Look, this is what I'll say. I am not against the idea of creating controversial, disruptive things that explore games that explore different concepts. Right.
Yeah.
The problem is that's not what this is. This is exploitation bullshit.
No, absolutely.
This is hatred. This is just like a game. I don't see anything in the screenshots for this.
Well, it looks like it was like assets taken from like another shooting game.
Right.
What it looks like.
I don't see anything in here that to me says, "Oh, you're doing something very interesting with this." It's a thing that'll be very interesting. You know, that we'll be making some kind of statement that will be saying something, right? As opposed to just being exploitation.
It's clearly like the guy's clearly doing it because he wants money.
Yeah. And if it's just exploitation, if the guy's just making an exploitation game, then here's the thing: Steam doesn't have to put that on their service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? The same way that Steam doesn't have to put porno games on their service or any game, literally any game. I mean, you know, they kicked what was the guys that tried to sue Jim Sterling?
Oh yeah,
Digital Homicide. Yeah. They kicked those guys off for being assholes. Yeah. Right? It's like, you guys are just big assholes, so we kicked you off the service. So, you know, and it's not to say that somehow every single day on Steam there aren't just like hundreds of games anyway. There's, you know,
most of them are garbage. Just the way that series is.
Here's a game called What's My Gender?
Jesus, look at that!
That came out today and has a bunch of like just pictures of booties and stuff, and I don't even understand what this game is.
Looked like a match 3 for a second.
I don't understand what it is, but like this wasn't, you know, here we've got. This is just the first thing that came up. Here's a game called Hi Panda that I think is it's a VR game where it doesn't
panda.
Yeah, it's a mixed reality game that doesn't have English language where you just hang out with a panda. Like, nobody's saying that you can't make dumb shit and put it on Steam, but if you scare the normies hard enough, trust me, you just don't want.
You just don't.
You don't want that. You don't want. Anyway, all right. Speaking of that, we got to speed this up a little bit.
There's a lot.
PUBG is acting like an idiot this week. Speaking of acting like idiots,
is that news though?
Yes. Well, the fact that they are actually taking Epic to court in Korea over
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
PUBG thinks that they own Battle Royale. They think that that's all I can think of that makes it, because you play Fortnite and you play PUBG and the two couldn't be any different from each other, right?
Absolutely.
Outside of jumping out of an airplane at the beginning and the fact that the radius comes down, right? Like, it couldn't be more different. PUBG has, you know, real world. Well, I guess they both have real world guns, but like PUBG has cars and Fortnite has building a giant house and you know, Thanos gauntlets and jetpacks, and take your pick of any dumb
crazy shit.
Yeah,
Looney Tune crazy physics, basically.
Yes, and this just comes off as PUBG sour grapes that.
It's dumb.
Fortnite has surpassed them, even though
they're suing the guys who gave them their license to make their game.
Well, there's also that. Yeah,
like they're using the Unreal Engine, which is owned by the people they're suing.
Yes,
they could be dicks about it and just be like, "Yeah, we're just going to take that from you and just fuck you over forever."
Yes,
they literally could do that if they wanted to.
I don't know that they could. Well, they would probably give them more grounds for an actual lawsuit that would have a chance of actually winning, because if you license an engine and then the company that you license it from is just like, we don't like you anymore, so whoop, you'd be like, anyway, yeah, boy howdy does this come off as just like
it comes off really badly,
like,
actually.
Even it's like one of those things where even if you have a point, you still look fucking terrible doing this.
Well, they sued that phone thing about the frying pan thing.
Oh yeah, yep.
So this is just they don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore.
It just feels like it's like nobody ever told them how video games work. It's like, you have a good idea, it's going to make you a whole bunch of money, and then guess what? Everybody's going to fucking copy it
and
forever,
better than you,
and they're going to do it better than Well, somebody may do it better than you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Sony Online Entertainment tried to sue Blizzard over World of Warcraft because they're like, "Hey, we own MMOs, motherfucker," or that Origin Online sued Sony Online to be like, "No, we made the first MMO." Like, nobody gets to do that. Like, it would be one thing. Yeah, it just doesn't.
It'd be if Marvel and DC sued each other every 20 minutes,
right? In fact, as near as I could tell, though, didn't PUBG rip off this idea from that H1Z1?
Well, that guy made it.
Oh, okay.
The guy who made PUBG is the original guy who made that mod.
Okay.
And so he's actually the original guy who made these things.
Right.
So that's probably why they think they own it.
Okay.
But the thing is, he got the idea from the reason why it's called Battle Royale.
Right.
Kind of thing. So there's no owning to any of that, really.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You cannot copyright frying pans and Battle Royale modes.
Yeah. It's like every time they think about suing somebody, it's like you're suing somebody over an idea that you got from something else anyways.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't think this is going to end well, and even if it does, it makes you look real. It makes you look real stupid. It makes you look real stupid. Trust me, you shouldn't.
It just showed that Xbox One had backed a really bad horse.
I mean, the thing is that what
seemed like a good idea at the time, though.
What's crappy about it is that I feel like if the PUBG Corporation spent more time putting interesting shit into their game in less time, I mean, and maybe they are, but like every week I got a fucking trailer for something new that's in PUBG. Last week it was jetpacks. The week before it was Thanos. The week before that it was like the instant build a fort or one of the other weird things that happened. This week it's shopping carts. Like you could just...
that trailer's really fun.
It's just two people in a shopping cart, and we're going down a big thing, and then we're going to make sick jumps on shopping carts, bro. Like, does that have anything to do with Fortnite? No, not really.
This game knows what it is.
Yep. It knows
it's so bad.
It looks fun as fuck. Like, maybe instead of suing people, you should be making your game fun as fuck. PUBG.
There's a great meme where it's like that guy sweating and has the two buttons. It's like fix game or sue people.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. This trailer for Fortnite, and they keep making these trailers, and I keep going like, oh man, I wish I could play that game.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to actually shooting somebody in Fortnite, I can't do it, and so I just die.
It's great to watch, though.
Yeah.
It's like watching a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yes. Absolutely. I'll tell you what's not like watching a Looney Tunes cartoon, and that's the game Agony, which literally lives up to its name. Because
so it's like a Disney cartoon is what you're saying.
Oh, fucking that game, it's nothing. It's no good. I don't like it. It's horrible.
That's unfortunate.
It's fucking terrible. Like the very first thing, you go back and watch the video that I put up today.
I haven't had the chance.
We're part 2. We started part 2, and there's a maze. It's a maze where it's a first-person game where you have to go through a maze and collect a certain number of skulls, and there are enemies in the maze, and if they see you, they run at you, and they kill you instantly, and then you have a minute to find another body to inhabit, or else you go back to a checkpoint and start the maze over again. And it's like, oh, this is fucking awful. I don't want to do this.
About that sentence.
Yeah. And then the question is, like, what's the story? I don't know. Why are you doing any of this? Fuck if I know.
Hell, I guess.
Yeah. So it actually got kind of fun towards the end when I cranked the gamma on the game all the way up so I could see anything in the actual game. Anyway.
Are you going to get the AO patch after all?
Well, there's interesting news. I'm glad you brought that up. Because, no, I bought it on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay.
But I bought it on the PlayStation 4 for a very specific reason. So it turns out that AO patch ain't happening.
Oh.
Yep.
Interesting.
A lot of people on PC are real mad about this. Apparently, here's a statement from the Steam forums. Due to legal issues, we are not going to be able to release the adult-only patch. However, that content does not affect the game in any significant way because the deleted material that was supposed to be added in the latest version of the patch is from 2 endings out of 7 and some scenes that would be that may be unlocked after the end of the game. We're going to publish a comparison video on May 30th, 2018, so you'll not miss out on anything. Please bear in mind that leaving this content uncensored would result in the game being banned and us, Mad Mind Studio, being sued. That would simply lead to the studio being closed. Obviously, we don't want that to happen, and we hope you understand that. Here, Michael, do you think that Steam users understand that?
No.
You are correct.
100% no.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. So on Steam, there's a lot of downvotes. Just like, well, I pre-ordered this. Don't pre-order stuff. Don't pre-order
the
stuff.
AO edition.
Yes.
Like a fucking weirdo.
I'll tell you, there's already a lot of butt cracks. No. There are full-on lady butt cracks. There are tickle bitties on demons, and you know what? They're swinging fucking man meat because we found it at the end of part 2. There's just some dude crucified, and his dick is straight up out. So, like, I don't know what more you want out of this game, but currently the user reviews on Steam are mixed, and they are 49% positive. Some of that is from the censorship stuff. Some of that's from just the fact that the game runs like shit and isn't very fun. And yeah.
Every time I saw a trailer for it, I'm like, this doesn't really look like it knows what it's doing.
The problem is...
it looked really nice.
I think, I don't know if I said this in the video or not, but like, okay, so I don't know about you, but for me, when it comes to video games, you need to have... you have to meet me halfway, right? So if the story to a game with bad gameplay is really interesting, then I'll keep playing the bad gameplay because I want to know what happens in the story.
Yeah.
If the story is shallow but the gameplay is excellent, then I will keep playing the game in order to find out what's going on. Sometimes, if the aesthetic is interesting enough, then I'll keep doing both of those. But on the PlayStation 4, screen tearing galore, sub 30 frames per second, the story's incomprehensible, and the gameplay is walking through a maze. So, like... what the fuck am I even doing here? We played it for about an hour and a half, and you can have it. You want to take it? You take it home, Michael? You can go play. You can tell me what the fuck is going on with it.
I'm debating it now.
Because it's, it seems like maybe eventually you'll get to a point where maybe you can like inhabit demons or something. But the problem here is that the iconography of hell is just so much meat. It's just so much red, bloody meat walls and meat and bones and stuff that it's kind of like, what is anything? I just
probably
feel like
just play Doom.
What Doom is such a better example of how like the Doom demons have like colorful energy, or like think about the way the Barons of Hell are like pink and then they're brown and they've got green hands, or
looks so cool.
The Kako demons, like they're so differentiated from each other that you can tell demons just by looking at them. Whereas here, everything is just, it's like somebody just took a handful of squirrel bones, mud, and blood and smeared them across your screen. It's gross.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I tell you what else is gross. For a minute today, Amazon in Spain, I believe, canceled everybody's Crackdown 3 pre-orders.
People pre-ordered Crackdown 3?
Yes. People pre-order everything, even though I, Jeff, have been telling them not to for a long time. Apparently, this happened very, very briefly. And then one of the representative from Microsoft came out and basically said, the team continues to work hard on the game for our fans. You should contact Amazon directly for any questions related to orders for them. Basically saying, no, it has not been canceled, but conspicuously not saying that, oh, it's still coming out this year, no delays, we'll see it at E3, etc.
I literally forget it exists every other month.
They need to put the game out. They need to put this fucking game out, man. Like,
there's so many things they said it would do, and then they would just like, oh, well, maybe we're not going to do that. And then we're just like, what is this game at this point?
Yep.
Like, no one cares anymore.
Yep. I'm sure there are some people. I'm sure there are some Crackdown fans out there that really care. But
you really want to use Terry Crews, I guess.
Yep. We'll see. I don't know. Bets, what do you think? Probability that it'll be on the E3 stage Microsoft conference this year.
I couldn't say.
Yeah.
It's like every time I think it's going to show up, it doesn't, and then there's randomly a commercial for it.
I say 50-50, but I give
it showed up last year, right?
Yeah, but last year was just a trailer with the Terry Crews
thing.
Yeah. I think if they're going to sell this game, they need to have it on stage playable this year.
Yeah.
It needs to be a front and center look at this thing. If they delay it more, I mean, like, okay, let's not be hyperbolic, Jeff. If they delay it more, then people will wait longer, and then they'll buy it when it comes out because people that like Crackdown really like Crackdown. But I really hope that they show it and that it looks fun and then I can play it this year.
Were they still doing that server thing, or did they scrap that?
The cloud destruction scrapped because of the. I think that was scrapped back when they made it so that your console didn't have to always be online.
Okay.
In fact, a lot of that cloud stuff that they were talking about when your console had to be online all the time was kind of interesting, but I feel like once you had to be able to have the console run offline, you don't want Crackdown 3 to look awesome if you're on the internet, and if your internet goes out, suddenly the game looks like garbage because none of the buildings will fall down the right way.
It was a really weird decision on their part when they first announced that.
It really, really was. All right, we're gonna speed it up here because we're already out of time. So, Final Fantasy VII. There was an image. There was a recruitment image, or like a recruitment page that had Naoki Hamaguchi in front of computers, and on one of the computer screens behind him was a very blurry cloud. And what is the name of the boss? The Airbuster. Which
that thing.
People are so starved for news that they're just like, look, there was a picture behind him of that new Final Fantasy game.
The game still exists, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's maybe a good question. Speaking of, will we see it at E3? Will we see Final Fantasy VII Remake at E3? What do you think?
Well, if we're lucky, this year will just end up being like the same year Fallout was announced and Shenmue 3 was announced and this game was announced. We're just going to find out about all of these things at once.
Oh, I thought you were saying and then they're come out and be like, and it's going to be out before the year is over.
I wouldn't be that would be kind of amazing because the thing is like
they never do that though.
Well, it only happened the one time. 2015 though was such a crazy fucking E3 for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it was just like somebody looked at somebody's wish list and went, yeah, let's just do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what they did.
Yep.
So if we're lucky, they'll do it again this year.
I think that we're closer to Kingdom Hearts, honestly.
Yeah, there's already a lot of footage for that.
Yeah. In fact, I've stopped talking about it on this show because I watched the footage and I'm just like, real pretty. Don't have any idea what's going on. No idea.
I just know Wreck-It Ralph's a summon.
Because they'll have a lot of footage in the middle that looks like somebody playing a video game with cool Disney characters, and then at the beginning and the end of every trailer, it's like, Sora, the division has erupted into the chaos of the Fourth Order, and they're like,
he goes, "Gorsh,
I'll never come back to the 12th Order. You tell Zalafanth that I won't do it." And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I lost track of Kingdom Hearts a long time ago.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll play it when it comes out. We'll see if it makes any fucking sense. I don't know.
Looking forward to it.
Speaking of looking at stuff in the background of other stuff, no, that's a bad transition. This is the weirdest story of all time. Dark Souls Remastered, it turns out, has an object file that nobody's mined before that turns out to be the Upper Cathedral Ward of Bloodborne in a rough outline. And the people that found it took that map data and opened it in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh my God, really?
And then you can run around. There's a video online of Trevor running around, and it's very, very difficult to make out because you have to really know, because it's just geometry with brick textures.
Yeah, I think I recognize this place actually.
Yeah, it's just the Upper Cathedral Ward, which is where you eventually go fight. What's her name? The stupid one. No, not Rom, the other one. I forget. But what's interesting is that apparently this is a file from original Dark Souls that nobody's managed to mine out yet.
So this was in the original Dark Souls this whole time?
Yes, this was in the original Dark Souls. Also, there's some parts of this that are apparently from Boletaria, from Demon Souls. So it's almost like they had this idea all the way back in Dark Souls and then didn't get to implement it until Bloodborne came out.
That's kind of amazing, actually.
But it's just such a weird story about like hidden Bloodborne level found in Dark Souls Remastered. So we opened it in Grand Theft Auto so Trevor could run around in this weird area.
The internet's a wonderful place.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And if you're a Souls person like me, then maybe go check it out. Star Citizen.
Oh, jeez.
Star Citizen.
Is that still a thing?
Yep. Star Citizen came out this week with the Legatus Pack. So as we all know, you can buy ships in Star Citizen for real-world money. The way that's supposed to work, I think, when the game comes out eventually is that if you buy a ship in the game and it crashes, then you have to like buy it with more in-game currency. But if you buy a real ship with real money, then you have it forever. So if your ship crashes and you just respawn it, whatever. Individual ships and planets. They also started a new thing where it was like plots of land on planets that you could buy for blah, 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 blah for real money. This game is not out yet. We'll just keep everybody. This game doesn't exist yet. They came out with a new thing this week called the Legatus Pack that is $27,000. Apparently, it's not even. You can't even look at it unless you've already given $1,000 to Star Citizen.
Oh my god!
But this is everything. Yeah. So it's weird. This game, Star Citizen, has already crowdfunded $35 million. I kind of feel like, fuck you, put this game out now. Like, don't be asking for another. I don't know. This is a bad look.
They've been doing this for years, though.
Yes, they have been doing it for years. This game better be the greatest game when it comes out. That's all. I mean, like, at this point, it's got $35 million, which is not some $10,000 Kickstarter game. This is a legit AAA game budget, right? You got a legit AAA game developer. This shit better be the shit.
Yeah, because Grand Theft Auto 5 is like, what, 50?
Something like that.
Oh my god, and this is like almost that's almost that amount.
And I don't understand what a $27,000 pack.
My car's not even worth $27,000.
Yeah, that's a legit. That's like people can live comfortably on that amount of money for an entire year or more, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what are you're buying virtual ships? Fuck off. Like that's too much.
It's
fuck off.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, let's lighten it up a little bit. Trailers. We got Lego DC Supervillains, which looks pretty cool.
I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I do. It makes me interested in something that's not the hero stuff, because what they got, like the Incredibles, I just couldn't care less about. Lego
Yeah,
the
which
Incredibles.
the Incredibles one was a weird announcement, but this is a fun thing that has a lot of characters that you could use. And we've already had like 3 Lego Batman ones and a couple, like 3 Marvel ones.
Yeah.
This is a great idea, like having a super game based on the DC supervillains, because there's a lot of great, interesting DC supervillains that are probably a lot of fun to play.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like you're going to be able to make your own. Like you're going to be able to take mix and match parts. I assume this part at the very end where the person's busting out, where you're going to get to unlock stuff and then kind of make your own villain, which is pretty cool as well. The only caveat, the only drawback, right, is that fucking Lego game, man.
That's the thing, is a lot of superhero games are now just Lego games.
Yeah.
And even Star Wars games, a lot of them are just Lego games now.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the phone market getting all the licensed titles nowadays, is that everything is now just like, is if you get it on a console, it's a fucking Lego game.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, we have a very strange trailer for, well, I don't know. Somebody's really into dragons, is all I'm going to say. This is
Japan fucking loves dragons.
Shining Resonance Refrain. This is a game that is coming out from Sega. This looks like so many like RPGs that come out during the year where it's like got a bunch of people kind of running in real time hitting a monster, except that this one's got a shitload of dragons. I wouldn't really mention this except for the fact that this is actually part of the Shining series, which Shining Force 1 and 2 on the Sega Genesis are some of my favorite tactical RPGs of all time. And I know there have been a bunch of other Shining games. Boy, does this not look tactical. This just kind of looks like an MMO with a bunch of dragons in it.
It's kind of like if you fused... well, actually, I think it just looks like Xenoblade, the new Xenoblade
A little bit.
games.
I feel like you see this all the time, though. This layout with, like, different characters with AI, and then they're kind of doing attacks in real time, and
It's become very popular since Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It actually looks like it has a decent enough production value.
I like the dragon designs.
Yeah, just a bunch of anime dudes and ladies what got dragons running around fighting with dragons. I remember this as being one of the very first tactical RPGs that I ever played, and that on the Sega Genesis it had this whole thing where the attacking, when you went to attack, it would go to like what's the one, Fire Emblem, where it was like you would see the person being attacked as an anime character, and then your person would be like on the other side of the screen. You would see them do your attack, and they'd see them attack back, and it was like the best graphics I'd ever seen at the time. I actually went back and played Shining Force when I made my Raspberry Pi, and it was just
okay.
this is real fun. Call of Duty's got zombies. Finally.
Who could have saw that coming?
Yeah. Call of Duty World War II is getting Attack of the Undead. It's a community event that's happening. It should already be up and happening. This is real strange looking.
Very much so.
It's weird because it's like the zombies are on the multiplayer maps instead of a zombies map.
Well, it reminds me of the zombie stuff in Halo.
Yeah.
The infection or whatever the game type was called. Because one of the game types is pretty much that. And then one of the other game types is basically like capture the bomb or capture the skull, I think, from Halo.
Right.
Kind of thing.
This kind of seems to me a little bit like Activision again jumping in on the whole kind of like Overwatch event mentality of like we're having an event of a limited time with some interesting stuff happening. Because
it forces people to play, yeah.
They've never had timed events before. Have they ever had timed events before?
Not that I can think of, but
or anything this big.
I haven't played attention to hit Call of Duty as much as I used to.
Right, where they've got Infected and Horde Point and Relic of the Undead, which are going to be going through different weeks. It doesn't look. It looks kind of fun, except for the fact that it's Call of Duty.
It's got a sword in it.
Yeah, you get a big ass sword. And they got a bunch of guns. It's funny watching this because last week everybody was so up in arms about like the customization stuff in the Battlefield 5 trailer and how they all looked. The guy had a katana and the lady and with
it's
the
not
arm.
Realistic or whatever.
Right.
And then this comes out like immediately after
this is ridiculous. It's got a broadsword. There's like a blinged out MG, like
there's a Tesla fucking gun.
Tesla cannon, and I know that it's for zombies and it's a spin-off type and you can still play the regular blunderbuss, but like yeah, I don't know. It's just
it always bothers me when gamers are like realism. Like realism hasn't been in these shooters in a long time.
Yeah.
If you keep saying realism, you're playing the wrong games.
I don't want to tell anybody that they can't be upset about a thing. It's just I'm not upset about Battlefield 5.
I'm not either.
It looks I would like to see it. It may be fun. It wouldn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It won't bother me. It didn't bother me when World War I wasn't dying out of a trench every 45 seconds and living in shit-filled pools of craters, with chlorine gas on the top and human feces and corpses on the bottom.
Exactly.
The way World War I actually was.
You didn't have to pee into something, put it on your face, right? To survive chlorine gas.
Exactly.
Realism.
Yeah.
That's what you want, kids.
Speaking of super realistic shit, Killer 7 is coming.
Oh, yeah.
To Steam. And Michael and I are we're on two different spectrums.
Opposites on this one.
Yep. I think that Killer 7 is an interesting game that plays like utter and complete dog shit.
I, for one, loved this game.
I honestly like the visual aesthetic. I like the sound. I like the weird fucking story. I like the crazy bananas gonzo body switching. I just hate the stop, scan, shoot at hard like the weak point. I even like the design of the smiles and the noise they make when they get killed and the weird audio design. I love everything about this game except for actually playing the game. So.
Teenage me thought this was the coolest fucking thing on the planet.
I still have it. I still have it for my GameCube. I've considered playing it for a sequential.
I gave mine to a friend. Although if you do that, I totally want in on it.
But yeah, this is supposed to be coming out fall. It's coming to Steam, and yeah, everybody can check it out. I think that Killer 7 is probably the best of the weird pseudo stuff.
It was my introduction to them.
Yeah, me too.
Because they did that and Shadows of the Damned.
Shadows of the Damned is a better game.
Is a crazy fucking game as well.
Because
it has one giant dick joke.
Mm-hmm.
Which was fun.
I think it's what Shadows of the Damned was. That the one where Mikami did the combat systems so that it was like because Suda51's great at aesthetics, terrible at combat systems. It makes real kludgy games that aren't very fun to play.
If I remember correctly, yeah, because it was the one with the Spanish character.
Yep,
and his gun.
Check out my big boner.
Yeah.
Yep.
The last one I didn't play though. The last one they made, which was the assassin one.
What?
The game that they made?
Let It Die?
No, not that. Or not that one. The one before that. The last console that you could buy one. Because I remember you hated that one.
Killer is Dead?
I think that's what it was. I never played that one.
Okay.
Because I remember people hated that one.
It was okay. It was weird
because it's very shallow in its humor or something, if I remember correctly.
Well, it had that whole like the gigolo vision thing where you had to stare at the tits until you got a bonus, and it was just kind of like, all right, Suda, fucking dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, that was the most like what the fuck thing out of the entire thing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of what the fuck, also Cody is going to be in Street Fighter V. Well, that's not what the fuck. What the fuck is that? Why did they bother to spend money with like a live action?
Apparently, that's a wrestler named Kenny Omega.
Mayor Cody. What's weird to me is that out of all of the Codys of all of the Street Fighters, this guy doesn't look like Cody to me.
Well, it's been years since he's been in jail, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't care.
It takes place just before Part 3.
Looks really weird. Also, I don't understand why he's trying to wear Hagar's pants. Because these are obviously not like one of these costumes is like he's obviously trying to wear Hagar's outfit because his fucking underwear, because the pants are sagging down because Cody's not as big as fucking Hagar. So
that's just an Easter egg costume more than anything,
I suppose.
Or maybe it's the only thing he has after getting out of prison.
I think that you and I covered this pretty succinctly when we played Street Fighter.
Well, I mentioned it, and then you were like, "Posh."
Yes. I was
like,
indeed.
Fuck Cody. I was like, what?
Fuck Street Fighter. I hate everything. I'm Jeff.
I was like, Cody's cool, though. And you were like, no, he's not.
I stand behind that statement. Guy and Mike Hagar have much more interesting lives than fucking Cody.
I thought Cody was cool, though.
Well, that's...
Also, he's supposed to be one of the strongest Street Fighter characters of like all time.
Well,
he literally broke out of prison because he was bored.
That's your prerogative. You're welcome to think whatever you like. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Although Hagar is more interesting than Cody.
That
doesn't mean Cody's not cool.
I like Mike Hagar. All right, let's run through these last few. Borderlands probably going to be coming out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Hooray!
Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel probably going to be packaged together. I think the only question mark, the only yay about this is one, it'll probably eventually come down in price to the point where you can just buy it and have Borderlands, right? $20 version of it 6 months after it comes out. Have all of them in case you want to go back and play Borderlands. 2, I think that this is as good an indicator as any, even though there have been rumors that we might be looking at Borderlands 3 this year.
It makes sense, though, because it's a good way of preparing people for the idea. Yeah. Like when they announced Red Dead Revolver coming out for the PS4 kind of thing.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we're making a new Red Dead Redemption. So, yeah, it's a good indicator, usually.
Yep. Yomawari, both of the 2 Yomawari games are coming to the Switch.
Oh, cool.
So we played those. I think we played one of them as Asylum, or maybe played one of them with Amanda, and I've never played one of them with Chris. That's the one with the little girl running around, run away from big old ghosts and shit. Dog gets killed. There's a dog that dies at the beginning of the first one. That's not a spoiler because it happens in the first 5 seconds of the game. I mean, technically it is a spoiler. So if you don't, but I feel warning people about dog death is a very important public service announcement.
Yeah, my roommate, like, he hates that. I kind of do too, but him more than I do.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to, speaking of bad ideas, that was a bad segue. If you want to buy that dumb Atari console that they're making, pre-orders are open now for it. So if you want to spend $300 on a collector's edition thing that runs old Atari games as well as some Linux games, you could do that.
I think I'm good.
You can do it. No, are you sure?
No,
but it's a new Atari.
No.
Okay, good. That's what everybody should be doing.
Unless that's the Ghostbusters 360 game, man. Yeah.
And let's see, almost last but certainly not least, Sonic Team Racing is happening.
I think it's Team Sonic Racing?
Team Sonic Racing? Sure.
If it's Sonic Team Racing, they're stealing Crash Bandicoot's racing names.
Okay. Apparently there's going to be some kind of team motif here with different Sonic characters teaming up to race. The world that we live in where Sonic has to get in a car to go really fast, I don't understand it. I will never understand it. I'm lost and confused and cold. Please help me find my family. I need to go home.
It's the same world where Sonic or Mario can beat Sonic in an Olympic race.
Very true. Very true. And certainly last, but all 100% not least, the producer for Yakuza basically has said, so last week or the week before, we got the announcement that we're going to be seeing Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 remastered and brought over to, or remastered for current consoles. But it's still not been a question of whether they're actually coming to the United States yet. That has not been announced. However, in a Yakuza live stream, Toshihiro Nagoshi said that the remasters are primarily being done for Yakuza fans outside of Japan.
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
Yes. He also said that these remasters will be keeping everything in the Yakuza game, so not cutting anything out. It's going to just be straight 1-to-1. That indication to me seems to be that they're going to be bringing them over to the States at some point.
At least Europe.
I look forward to a day when I can sit down and play Yakuza 0 through 6. 7 Yakuza games on my PlayStation 4.
So many.
Even though, fuck, I don't have time to play. I haven't finished 6 yet, let alone 3, 4, and 5. But I still appreciate it. Please bring them over. It's going to be cool. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer some questions. We've already gone super fucking long. So we're probably not going to answer as many questions as I thought, but we'll be back in just a minute. And mail@rageselect.com is the email address that you can send in things to. But before we read emails, I beat a game last week. So I'm going to do a little impromptu game review.
Go for it.
Ask me what game I beat.
What'd you beat?
Dark Souls Remastered.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know about this Dark Souls. No, I thought I would just speak really briefly.
It's pretty dank.
It's all right. You know what? It's exactly what it says on the box. It's Dark Souls Remastered. It's not, they haven't changed any of the content in the game. That includes a whole bunch of bugs that still work. It includes PvP bugs that still work.
Oh, God.
They have not done a lot to this game. They added one bonfire in a location that is warpable, that's near a blacksmith that used to be in a really difficult to reach location.
Oh, okay.
So you can just jump right there, right? They have added a new lighting engine to... so like the bonfires and all the spell effects. It's actually really cool if you play a wizard because you're throwing all these nice new volumetric lighting effects around. So you're throwing sparks and shimmers and stuff all around. You can summon, the other thing is that the online community is popping. So you can actually summon people in your game. You can have people help you beat bosses. Works. The online password system works. You get invasions. You get invasions all the time. People get invasions. There's also some slight graphical adjustments. I put on the PlayStation 4. It's 60 frames per second. Doesn't ever, Blighttown used to be 30 frames per second unless you were on the PC. All the people who are mad about the fact that it's just a patch because the PC release of Dark Souls, I totally understand. Nobody's making you buy this. I understand that you want a full-on remaster where they go back in and fix a bunch of shit and make it a different game. I want Metal Gear Solid HD.
I want that so bad.
And I've wanted it for years now. Sometimes we just don't... You can't always get what you want. But if you've never played Dark Souls or you've never played any of the Souls game and you're looking for a good entry point, it's good to start at Dark Souls because the games ramp up in difficulty. And so I feel like if you go directly to Dark Souls 2, you'll just be like, why is it so fucking hard? And if you start with Bloodborne, it's like, why is this so fucking hard? If you just start with Dark Souls, where you kind of start at the beginning, it's got a good progression. It's also $40. So if you don't think that the game is worth it, like if you're on Steam and you have the PC version, it's $20 to upgrade to it. If you've already got DS Fix, I don't know if there's any reason. I feel like people are very conflicted because the people that love Dark Souls want to go back to the game and play with online community because that's the problem is that it's an 7 or 8 year old game, right? Yeah. So the community has all been like once a year they'll have an event where everybody goes back online. But like here you got the potential for newbies, right, that are coming in. So you got all the online and helping people and then not ganking people and doing that stuff. And that people I feel like a little bit put out that they'd have to spend $20 for the privilege of doing this for something which is not adding a lot of additional content to the game. However, I enjoy having a copy for my PS4. I let you borrow it. I think it's fine and it plays really well.
Yet. I installed it last night.
Yeah. I'd say if you've never played it before and you wanted a good entry point, it's a good entry point. Also, let's just be real clear here, right? Shit goes on sale all the time. Dark Souls Remaster came out last week for $40. by the end of this fucking year, you're going to be able to get it for $10 on a Humble Bundle, or it's going to be free on a PlayStation or Xbox with Gold, or one of these places you're going to be able to get it without,
it'll happen eventually
at a reduced price. So
MKXL is 10 right now, for instance.
Is that the game of the year with all the DLC or whatever?
It's got all the characters and all the costumes, all that.
Injustice 2, like Legendary Edition, I think is like $30 or $40, which has all the DLC characters as well. So if you don't feel like it's worth it, I feel like it's a fun game to play. If you don't want to spend $40, you'll be able to get it cheaper, at least half off. And I think it's at least worth $20, but what else? Our first question this week comes in from Whiskey Howl, who actually, I don't know when this came in. Anyway, he writes in and says, "Hello, Jeff and sexy Michael. I was wondering if you had seen the trailer for the Happy Time Murders and your reactions. My first reaction when seeing a couple of shots a few years ago and the still frame of the movie is this: Puppet Jason as a detective in a crooked noir movie? And when seeing the coke snorting, hearing the foul language, and a 20-second long jizzing scene, it seemed out of the mind of the mighty Murphy, minus the missing but oh so crucial dick bees during the above described scene. Second, more of an opinion. Jeff, you were wondering in a recent podcast about maybe releasing fewer episodes if they were edited to 15 minutes as a possible way to success. Couldn't agree more. For me, this would mean you release 2 15-minute episodes a week, the regular sequential podcast and patrons. Shit, that sounds like more work. Sorry, man. Actually, that's not. But I wouldn't mind only 2 shorter episodes between Monday and Friday instead of 5 regular 30 to 40-minute episodes. Maybe a mailing poll would be a bad idea. Kind regards, Whiskey Howl from Flanders, Belgium. I actually would speak to that. I'm actually starting to wonder whether it might be a better idea instead of bending over backwards. The beginning of every week for me is very, very hectic because there are a lot of deadlines, and like my run of videos runs out on Tuesday. So it's like I always need to record something on Tuesday to put it out on Wednesday. I actually started to think about, instead of just rushing, about starting to live stream on Friday afternoons instead of like whatever the new game is of the week. Live stream it for like 2 or 3 hours on a Friday afternoon, which would, 1, give me ways to interact with people a lot more. 2, I could then cut those into parts and put them out as individual episodes. Still have the sequential Saturday, still have maybe 1 or 2 other videos, but just like move things a little bit further down the pipe so that I'm not under this horrible gun every week. I don't know. I welcome any comments to that regard. But
a lot of YouTube channels do that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been looking at is that I think it would be more fun for me, and I think it would be like, because Friday I always end up with not much to do on a Friday, so I always end up with free time, especially during the afternoon. So it'd be nice if I could take some of the oh shit from the beginning of the week and just move it to Friday afternoon. We're just like, hey everybody, Friday afternoon, you got off work early, have a beer with me, let's play some video games. What's new this week? Let's check it out. As far as the Happy Time Murders, have you seen the trailer for that? I have.
My roommate was obsessed with it. My roommate had been following it for years.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, for a long time, there was just a still of it. Because Brian Henson has been working on making this thing for ages.
Oh, it's Brian Henson.
Yeah, this is one of his pet projects.
Interesting.
And he's been trying to get this thing made for ages. And so my roommate, we found out about it because there was like this special film thing in Vegas where they showed the trailer for the first time. And so he was super excited, and then apparently they played it in the beginning of Deadpool 2.
Interesting.
And so he was just super fucking excited, and I watched it and I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch?
It kind of reminds me of Meet the Feebles a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I can see that.
It's definitely less, it seems like it's less gross than Meet the Feebles. It's a good idea. Nobody has a monopoly on Muppets. So if you wanted, it's kind of what Meet the Feebles is, right? Is taking Muppets and then just making your own and putting them out in the world. I think that for me it could go either way. To be honest, like
it really can, because every time I watch the trailer, I laugh, but then I cringe at certain parts. But the thing is, I don't know if I like it or not every time I watch the trailer for it.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea a lot because, the way Sausage Party was, where it's an R-rated 3D animated film, like, this is just that.
Right.
Kind of thing. So, like, I like the idea of it a lot. And I honestly, once I watch it, I'm sure I'll like it more.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can make a bad trailer. That's all it is sometimes. And honestly, there are some good jokes in it, but I'm just so interested to see how this plays out more than anything.
I think the weirdest part is the detective puppet. It looks like too big. He looks too like large.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's from the idea that, like, you know, whenever there was Kermit walking around in the movie, you were always kind of like, I don't want to be seeing this. This is weird looking. Also, there's not a lot of there's a lot less. The puppets are a little bit less fuzzy than I think I would have expected. There's a little bit more of a hard edge to them, but
I think that's intentional, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it could have it has potential. Again, it's just a question of, you know, like I don't hate. A lot of people hate Melissa McCarthy. I don't hate Melissa McCarthy.
She's
okay.
50-50 with me.
Yeah, sometimes she does all right, sometimes not. This looks like it might work. It's really just I gotta watch it. I gotta see it. I gotta figure out, and then I'll know what's going on. The weird jizz joke at the end, though, is just kind of like, I don't know. It goes on for a little while longer than I would have thought.
Yeah, a lot longer than it probably should.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Some people found it hysterical. I find it kind of funny, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure the actual movie itself might be better since, Brian Henson's been working on this for a long, long time.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Our next question comes in from Ron. Ron says, Dear Jeff and Michael, I was playing Gran Turismo Sport recently. Oh, you're the one. No, I'm just kidding, Ron.
I was thinking the same thing, though.
And I discovered that you can't play online without watching 2 video PSAs, one on sportsmanship, which made me laugh because I kept expecting Chris Evans to step into frame, and one on improper driving. Initially, I thought this was stupid and laughed and moved on. The more I thought about it, though, the more I realized that at least they made an attempt at cultivating an online culture of players who aren't complete dicks. This got me wondering, what do you think other games and genres could do to make an attempt at creating a decent online culture in their games? And do you think that any of it could actually work? People suck, so I realize that this is more of a thought experiment than anything else. Thanks for your time, and I clipped the videos, included links if you're interested in watching them. Ron. Thanks, Ron. I didn't actually. Well, I'll put one up here, but we're not going to listen to the audio on it. So let's see. The question is, what do you think other games or genres could do to make an attempt at creating a decent online culture in their games, and do you think that any of it could actually work?
That's a tough one.
It is. I personally think that you can. I think that it is possible. I think that
it all depends on the audience sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Grand Theft Auto is the perfect example of everything that's batshit insane with a multiplayer, but also very many attempts to keep it at a steady, like, everyone can play. Like the passive mode, for instance. I think passive mode's still a really good idea. Mm-hmm. It allows people to play online but not have to deal with crazy people. Although, there's hacks like crazy, but that's something else entirely. Like, there's so many ways. Like, it's a lot of just trying to curb bad behavior more than anything. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny because when Red Dead Redemption was out, me and my friends, whenever the online mode came out, we were just bored high schoolers, and we figured, or not high schoolers, because I think by that point I maybe had graduated. At that point, we were really bored, and we decided to be the cops of the area for some reason. So every time somebody would go out and kill somebody, we would go after that specific guy. And we ended up like having a lot of fun that way because we ended up accidentally curbing bad behavior because of it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, but it's one of those things where it's like it all depends on what's happening at the moment kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, it's a tough question to answer, I feel, more than anything.
Yeah. So it's weird to me because I've watched Overwatch try to deal with this. I almost feel like it's gotta be, I don't know. I have such mixed feelings about this because I feel like if you publish the guidelines of like, here is the behavior that will get you banned, then the people that are shitty will walk right up to the edge of that without ever stepping over the line. Right? Is that they'll figure out where the boundaries are, and then they'll go all the way as offensive as they can be out to the boundaries without actually getting into a point where you can be banned. I personally have actually toyed with the idea from time to time on both the YouTube channel and on Rage Select of just being like, I don't like you. And this is my website, and so I'm going to ban you. Like, you haven't cursed at anybody, but I don't fucking like you, and I pay $100 a month for web hosting, so get the fuck out of here. And, like, this is my YouTube channel. I've created 3,000 videos. Get the fuck out of here. But I almost feel like that's what you need, is that you need one of the things I feel like has been lost a little bit, and I know that it's hard, especially with popular games, is that you kind of need a person to look at this stuff. You kind of need a person to evaluate who gets banned and who doesn't, and what that ban is for, et cetera, because I feel like anytime they try automation, it just doesn't.
It never works, automation, or not never, but it rarely works the way they intended it to.
Yeah,
because people will get banned because like when we were playing Dark Souls, you mentioned the thing where people were getting banned because somebody who was hacking their game invaded somebody who wasn't hacking their game.
Right, somebody invaded somebody else's game, and that person was hacking, and then the detection was like, "There's hacking in this game,
exactly.
Soft ban for you." I do love the idea of pools of like, oh, do you cheat? Well, now you get to play on the server with the cheaters. So when you're detected cheating, you go to the cheat zone, and we're not going to ban you, but you just get to play with everybody else who's cheating. Like, if you want to be a shit stank, then you can go play on the shit stank servers and stay the fuck away from people who just want to have a good time.
I think Grand Theft Auto 5 was trying to do that for a while, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. I think League did that for a while. League of Legends did that.
I think so. I think Overwatch considered it. I don't know if they ever did it.
I like that idea though, because it means it's like, because I feel like a lot of times those people they want to fuck with regular people, right?
No, absolutely.
And so then you're just like, well, no, you can go fuck with the other fuckers. You can all just fuck with each other, and then we'll all be over here. And it's just like, well, that's not why I'm even here. And it's like, yeah, maybe be nice. Because I honestly don't think. I think after a long time, I feel like there's a misconception that, the tide of people online doing these things is just too large and too overwhelming for us to do anything about. I don't think that's true. I think that 90% of everybody they're relatively decent human beings. I think that when you look at trolls or cheaters or people that are fucking around online, that you were talking about a very small percentage.
Absolutely.
Like I try to remember when, it's like, let's count up all the videos on the internet that are long, in-depth essays about why The Last Jedi is a shitty, sucky movie that doesn't make any sense, right? And now let's take that number and divide it by the number of people who went to the theater to see The Last Jedi, and you will see that it is 0.0000001% of people who went to the theater who are mad. The thing is that we're just see that stuff front and center. Like, you don't tend to remember all the times you played Overwatch where somebody wasn't being a shitbag, but you definitely remember the time when they were being shitbags.
It's the term vocal minority.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason there's a term for it, kind of thing.
I actually like the term sampling error because I feel like a lot of times these things stand out more than like if a whole online player base is garbage, if everybody that plays Overwatch is cheating, then no regular people are going to be like playing Overwatch because they're just going to be like, it's fucking cheaters. It's just cheaters everywhere. Whereas if every so often you run into a cheater and you're just like, oh, okay, fuck you. I don't want to be part of your group and I'm going to go play in a different server. Because if this experience was so terrible, then nobody would do it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that a lot of times this stuff gets a little bit overstated, but it's just so frustrating when there's another human being that is trying to ruin your fun. It's like worse than a glitch or a bug or anything.
A lot of times when they became overwhelming, it's usually towards the end of the online life cycle anyways.
Yeah.
Because by that point, like, the only people playing are either the crazy hardcore people or the cheaters. So
yeah,
that's but that's just the life cycle of a game sometimes.
I don't know though. I don't know what you do. Like, I almost feel like it would be interesting, and it would probably, you'd have to set a real court precedent over it, right? Is like if it's an online game, It'd make it basically 3 strikes, and then just like you're just banned.
Just have penalties in general. Like, even if it's not a 3-strike thing, just be like, hey, you fucked up. We're taking all of like a bunch of experience points or something away from you.
See, I wonder
some upgrades or something.
I wonder. I often wonder about the legality of just like, oh, well, you were cheating and you cheated 3 times. So guess what? Your copy of Overwatch is permanently offline. You can go buy another copy if you want, but this version, you fucked this version to death. And now this is not a functional piece of software. Like, if it has an offline mode, you can play it offline, but you cannot play online with other people because you're too much of a shithead. We don't want you here anymore. Like, there has to be some consequence that is hard enough to deter people.
A lot of times it's like blocking an IP address sometimes.
Right.
Like, but even then, there's like workarounds for.
But I feel like a lot of these, like each individual copy of a game has a key associated with an account, and then if you just say like, well, like you've blocked that key, then it's like you can go get a new IP address all you want. You can have IP addresses from now until the end of time, but like if your key for that game is blocked from going online.
Well, I know some Steam games already do that though. Like your Steam profile is just blocked.
Yeah,
entirely, kind of thing. So, I
don't know. I wonder if that's a way to focus people's attention, maybe. But
you need penalties that have consequence that cost money, but don't be a dick about it. I don't know. It's a thin line that is hard to figure out.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone will figure it out eventually. It's just I don't think we're the ones who are going to figure it out right away.
Yeah. It's also tricky because, I don't even know. I would never want to be I would never want to be a person who had to decide this. But then you get into like if you're talking about, say, you're looking at words that'll get you banned if you say them over voice comms, and then you start to get into like, okay, well, there's a certain number of them that are pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
But then you start to get into like places where there are some people who are incredibly offended by word X, and there are some people who casually use word X all the time.
That happens a lot.
And so is this a bannable offense?
Like, there's a lot of words here that are super offensive to us, but turns out they're just random slang in like Britain or Australia or something.
Yep.
Like cunt's a good example of that.
Yep.
Like, people in Australia apparently just fucking love saying that word.
I tell you what, I'm going to open one side of this can of worms, but I'm not going to leave it anywhere. The N-word, right? Some people use that with their friends affectionately. It's also a hateful slur in a lot of cases, depending on how you are using it.
I was on Reddit at one point, and it was around the time the PewDiePie thing had happened.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people saying that, I think there were like people in Belgium or Norway. They just said it. Like it was nothing, because it doesn't mean the same thing there than it does here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, even though it's still very offensive here, kind of thing.
I was having a conversation with my girlfriend about the word queer and how that used to be. When I was a kid, that was an insult. It was something that was very hurtful. You wouldn't call somebody that.
Yeah.
And now it's been co-opted back as a descriptor of people,
there's a whole show called
sexualities.
Queer Eye,
right?
Queer Eye for straight guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, listen, I don't like to say this word very often, and I'm only using it to demonstrate my thing. But would it be weird for you if there was a new show on Netflix called Fag Eye for the Straight Guy? Like, you'd be like, whoa,
I'd be like,
yeah.
But somebody in Britain's like, that has nothing to do with cigarettes.
Right,
I don't understand what's going on with this show.
So you start to get into also the question of because I know that there's been some companies that have wanted to do like automated vocal tracking, listening to you, and then if it detects certain things, like either putting you in a queue or
they already have stuff like that for chats, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's so hard to really figure out because everyone has different accents. Everything's this, and that. It's really tough.
Literally, I'd pay for it. That may be a solution. Is like a members only thing where you're like, I want to be on the verified identity Overwatch queue, where the people that are on there are immediately kicked out if they use vulgarity or bad sportsmanship or are shitty, and you gotta pay $10 to get into it.
But the problem with that I have is the deciding factors as to what causes that sort of thing.
Right.
Because if it's just like, say, it's like the amount of disconnects. It's like, well, sometimes your Wi-Fi just cuts out for like the entire day, and you end
Sure.
up disconnecting a bunch of times. Like, it looks bad on you, but it's not your fault, kind of thing.
Right. Which so that's why I say if you paid for it, then you could use that payment to put a human being on the other end who makes these calls, where they say, "Hey, I'm putting you on a soft ban for a minute. We'll get in touch. What happened here? You had a bunch of Wi-Fi drops. Okay, that's consistent, But you would also have to have a level of responsibility of just like, if your Wi-Fi is real spotty, maybe this isn't for you because there's no way to tell.
It's a tough position. Like, I've done customer support for a long time.
Yeah.
And people just lie.
Yeah.
Their asses off. And that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
is figuring out what's the lie and what's not.
I don't know.
It's like playing L.A. Noire or Ace Attorney kind of thing. You gotta like look at the evidence.
Can you turn on a webcam?
I'm just gonna stare at you and make sure you're not a douche.
You know that what you said was wrong. You tell me why you were dropping out of Overwatch games.
Don't tell me it was the ambient again.
Damn it, Cole Phelps. Get out of my Overwatch. Okay, let's see. Luke writes in and says, "Hey, chaps, do you ever get excited for video games based solely on who the director is? For example, we have no news or info on the next Ken Levine game. However, the fact that he is working on something makes me quite excited. Similar to the way that I don't need any info on whatever Richard Linklater is doing next. The very fact that he is working on a movie is exciting. Do you need to see a trailer, screenshot, or gameplay to pique your interest?"
That's an easy one.
Whole lot of love to you guys at Rage Select, and I hope this question makes sense, Luke. Yeah, Luke totally makes sense.
Absolutely. 2 words. Hideo Kojima. I will follow that man to the end of the fucking earth.
Yeah. It's interesting because there are I will expand my answer. I agree, yes, that Miyazaki, Hideteki Miyazaki, who makes the Dark Souls games.
Exactly.
Right? I want to see what his thing is, what his next thing is. Absolutely. Hideo Kojima, okay. I was going to say Hideo Kojima's ain't never done me wrong. Metal Gear Solid 5, a little raw, a little rough.
Well, even then, that's not necessarily his fault.
Right.
Because they also did him wrong at the same time.
Right. However, sort of. I mean, like, Ken Levine, good. Ken Levine, see, for me, it's not a binary thing. There's tiers. Like, hearing Ken Levine's doing something, and I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. What you got, Ken Levine? Like, you're higher up on my radar than Zero, but I kind of want to see what that thing is because Ken Levine doesn't have just, like, the stellar reputation so that whatever. Like, it used to be that take like BioWare, right? The BioWare used to just be like, whatever you got, BioWare. You've made enough games that I loved, and I loved them so much that you just got a free pass. Whatever the next game is that you put out, I'm going to want to buy it and play it and see what it is.
That's the thing about games, though, that makes it different than movies, though, is that with movies, it's you hear Steven Spielberg, and so you're like, okay, that guy, directs these things really well. But for games, a lot of the times it's the studio name,
right?
Like like you mentioned, BioWare. Like, BioWare was just like, BioWare's doing it. Of course, I'm fucking on board with whatever it was at it, like up to a certain point,
right?
That kind of thing. But there are very few game directors that you automatically hear their name and you're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Like Hideo Kojima, the reason I said that right away because he is the guy who you know the name of because he put his name up front every fucking game he made, kind of thing. Ken Levine, like, I know who he is only because he did a lot of interviews, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting to think of the people that, like, there are very few rock stars in, like, when Hideo Kojima walks out on a stage at E3, everyone's just like, oh my fucking God. I couldn't tell you what David Cage looks like. Like, I don't
I don't know what he looks like.
Even though I know who David Cage is, I could.
To me, is a guy that I would recognize right away.
Yeah,
the guy who made Bayonetta and all those games, Wonderful 101. That's a guy I recognize. He's another guy that I would follow immensely because I love everything he's done.
Yeah, I think it's also very easy to get sidetracked into if you know. Like, I know that a lot of people don't know who Suda51 is.
Yeah, exactly. Suda51's a great fucking guy.
Or Yoko Taro, for that matter.
But I couldn't tell you who fucking directed the Arkham Asylum games.
Yep.
Like, I have no idea, but I love those games.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But see, and that's interesting because it's actually more interesting than that because a lot of times we give too much credit to individuals. Like, Hideo Kojima is a ruthless control freak. So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I don't feel bad about giving him a lot of credit for the way that these things have come out, because like I've literally heard of him going to look over devs' shoulders and be like, put this thing here.
He has
and
a
I
vision.
want this. Yeah.
And that he wants to be a thing.
Right. Whereas, like we talk about Ken Levine and BioShock Infinite, there was a whole shitload of people working on that game that were not Ken Levine. And I feel like that's even true with like people give like Lucas so much credit for the original Star Wars.
Absolutely.
And there was a whole art department and people that were making decisions behind the scenes about how we're going to make these things that influence those things. And so we tend to give one person a lot of credit. Like, again, going back to Star Wars, I feel like I've seen a lot of videos online that are just like, Rian Johnson, what a piece of shit with The Last Jedi. And it's like, well, but do you know, is it like all him? Like, is there things, are there other people involved? Is that we like to have one person to say, this is the person, yes or no, like Zack Snyder is the reason that the DC universe is shitty. And it's like, well, probably he has something to do with it.
He has a lot to do with it.
But Warner Brothers probably has something to do with it as well. Like, it's their property. They watched the movie that Zack Snyder made and then said, put it out. Like,
the thing is, like to jump on that exact thing is that Zack Snyder doesn't like he if he makes a decision, he doesn't automatically just say, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. He has to ask Warner Brothers what to do.
Right.
Like for instance, Man of Steel. The most controversial thing about Man of Steel is him breaking Zod's neck.
Yeah.
He had to ask them if this was okay, and they totally said yes to it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with that you mentioned Star Wars. We give Lucas so much fucking credit, but the best film of the entire series for everyone, which is The Empire Strikes Back, was not directed by him in any shape, way, or form. It was all done by Lawrence Kasdan.
Yep.
Even the "I know" instead of saying "I love you" was his decision as well, kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, there's so much that's other people's decisions that sometimes we shouldn't only give one guy like credit for something. But
it is still worth pointing out that like you can like a creative person, and then you can know that like if Wes Anderson is directing a movie, I got a good idea of what I'm in for, right?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to go to see a Wes Anderson movie and get a Paul Verhoeven movie. I know that a Paul Verhoeven movie, no matter what movie it is, and a Wes Anderson movie, no matter what movie it is, are two completely different things, right? Entirely different aesthetics.
The same with games are like that too sometimes, though. Like, especially art people. I'm going to throw a Dragon Ball guy out there.
Sure.
Akira Toriyama.
Yep.
The Dragon, like if he Dragon Quest, Blue Dragon, all of those things, they look very similar. Chrono Trigger, they all look very similar because that's his art style.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So, but he didn't direct them all, kind of thing. So it's tough to really get a grasp game wise who you trust more than anything.
To be honest, and there's a lot of it too that is where I will essentially anthropomorphize a series where I'm like, for example, Resident Evil 7 was so good. I don't know who directed it. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you who directed Resident Evil 7. I could barely probably tell you the studio that worked on it because I just haven't looked into it, right? But Resident Evil 7 was so good that whatever comes out from that group next, I'm more than willing to give it a try. I'm willing to give it... That's my big thing is if you develop a reputation for putting out good products, then I'm more than willing to give you a chance regardless of what it is. And even if you fuck it up once or twice, I'm still willing to give you a chance, but then I personally will stop giving you a chance. I
think Gearbox is a good example of that for some people.
Yeah.
Because the Borderlands brought up a lot of goodwill, but then they just keep throwing random things out there that just didn't work, like that Alien game or Duke Nukem Forever. Sure, it's them releasing it, but still, it has their name on it.
Yep. So that's the way that I feel. Is I always just try to get a handle on what an individual creator or a company or a franchise or a studio or whatever is about. And then if they have a good reputation, like the fact that Rocksteady's is probably making a Superman game. That's the rumor right now, right?
Yeah.
Rocksteady's making a Superman game. And I'm like, there is no part of the Batman franchise that indicates that studio could make a good Superman game. Like, Batman and Superman are two different things.
Completely different games.
And there's nothing in the Arkham games that makes me, that points to like, well, this is the studio that you want making a Superman game. However, the fact that studio, except for the fact that studio took Batman and understood Batman and made Batman the way that I've wished somebody would make a Batman thing. So I'm hoping that at least that aspect will transfer over into a Superman game. Because I don't want just like a Superman game that plays like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Like, no. But I do want a company that knows how to take something as serious, or not as serious, but was willing to take something like Batman and then show it the respect that it deserves when translating it over.
And a good example that it takes a lot of people. Paul Dini helped make the first two,
right?
So he's one of the main reasons that story works.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. We're just about done here. I got a couple more. This next one comes in from I'm gonna call you old Windowman. Yes. Mr. Windowman writes in and says, "Hello all. Love the show. Been following since loading bar. Recently, I caught a BBC radio report about cheating services targeting both youth and college students. Essentially, they offer to write your essays for you for money. Why do I bring this up on a video game podcast? Well, one, they're using YouTubers to promote themselves, and two, they have recently started specifically targeting Fortnite's Let's Plays, including kids. I guess that wasn't really a question so far, so here it goes. Can you pass along some advice to the young Let's Players who have been targeted by this? Some inspirational speech about how they shouldn't sell out to this blatant exploitation. Thanks and keep killing everything. Or however the saying goes. And that's from Mr. Windowman.
I don't know what to say to this one.
It's interesting because I have a lot of different... I have mixed feelings. Like... the whole like paying somebody to write your essay for school, that's been around forever.
There's jokes about it in sitcoms to this day.
Yeah. When I was younger, it was just like some kid would run that service. It wouldn't be an online service that you could pay for.
Now that kid's an adult.
Right.
Apparently.
The things that I can say are that, so to the people who might be considering using such a service, just do your work. Like, it's not that much, and you're honestly better off learning stuff from doing work than you are cheating. And then it's
Plus,
like
they might sell you the same papers they sold someone else, and that plagiarism thing was gonna. Those flags are gonna go off like fucking crazy.
Maybe to me though, it's just like you're just cheating yourself.
You're absolutely.
You're just making yourself stupider. Like, don't be stupider. Even if it's drudgery, getting used to doing drudgery is a skill in and of itself. Do your work. Do your work. Write your essay. Like, maybe it's not so great. Maybe you're not going to get an A. But like, you're not getting an A anyway if you pay somebody to write your essay. You're buying grades, and once you hit the real world, that ain't gonna fly. You can't pay somebody to do your work at your job, right? Like, or
exactly.
I guess you could. That's called being the boss.
Well,
but.
there was. That reminds me. I was reading another online thing where they mentioned that a guy he'd been hiring a Chinese like person to do his work, so he would pay the guy to do his work by giving him like a quarter of his check,
right?
And he would just take credit for all of it. And apparently this happened for like a year.
That's pretty good. However, we do kind of frown on it eventually.
Of course the guy got fired and everything and blacklisted, but the fact he got away with it for a whole year is pretty fucking surprising. They found out because they kept getting file transfers from China.
Oh, okay. As far as young Let's Players who are using these things, because I know what they're talking about, is essentially they've got like 10% off codes, right? It's just your same promo stuff where it's like you're streaming Fortnite or you're doing a video for Fortnite, and then you get to the break and you're just like, hey everybody, this week we're brought to you by fucking, I don't know, getana.com, right? Like, go there, type in offer code DonutMan55 and you get 10% off your first paper from them. I've used them before. They're a great service, blah, 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 blah. I'm of two minds. One, YouTube is such fuckery that, like, if you can make money doing something like that, then like I'm almost like, go ahead, make your money.
It's the tough thing about it.
On the other hand, you don't want to get a reputation for literally doing anything for money. Like, I don't know.
Some people, that's why they're doing it, though. They're literally doing anything for money at that point.
Right.
Sometimes we're doing literally anything for money.
You know, to be honest, if you have enough people that are willing to click through on a referral business like that, you could probably set up a Patreon, or you could maybe...
You probably have a better sponsor at that point.
You could probably get a better... Yeah, Audible or NatureBox or Casper. Blue Apron, yeah.
Lisa Mattress.
Yeah.
I heard all things I've heard in a podcast at some point.
Right. You could probably find yourself a better sponsor than these rat fucks. And to the rat fucks, I understand. I mean, I don't know. You're just making money off people who want to cheat. I don't know. Cheating is it's such a weird proposition to me, because it's like you're fucking yourself by doing it. Like,
absolutely.
You just don't fuck yourself. Don't cheat. Like, maybe that's my inspirational speech. Hey kids, don't fuck yourself.
Watch Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School and see how it worked out for him.
Right. Yeah. Trust
when
me,
they catch you with that shit, that's just gonna not go well for you.
Well, plus, you know, when you're in school, like, man, you got a lot of life to fuck around and do dumb shit. Like, just do the look. I know that it's probably harder than when I was in school, right? And school sucks. It's always, you know, you're young and you don't want to do anything. Guess what? Your entire life, somebody's gonna be asking you to do something. You're not gonna want to do anything. You're just gonna be like, oh, I wish I could not do anything. And it's like, sorry, chumpo, get a job, fucking do your laundry, like walk your dog, put on shoes, shower. I don't know. You got to do something. There's something that's got to be done. So. Yeah, I don't know. I also don't feel entirely comfortable telling other people what to do, because I'm like, I don't know, you make your own mistakes.
You're the one paying for this dumb shit. So
you can cheat and get an A and you didn't earn it, and then eventually the knowledge that you were supposed to have, you're not going to have it, and maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's like, I don't remember the quadratic equation or how to do cosines and tangents.
Maybe you don't need it for your major or something.
Maybe so.
Know.
All right. One last question here before we wrap it up. Mike writes in and says, hey there, sexy podcasters. I just finished listening to the podcast with Michael from May 13th.
Oh, geez.
And the conversation about advertisements are hilarious. By the way, the jacked Asian man from the YouTube ads is called Mike Chang. I know this because my name is Mike Chung, and he always ruins the glorious Mike name. Can you please talk more about ads that you hate?
Oh, geez.
I'm from Canada, and half the ads you get I've never heard of. Thanks. And that's from Mike, as previously mentioned. I remember that was when we were talking about ads that you see over and over again. Boy, Mike, let's see. Let's dig deep here.
I'm trying to think of ads that I saw recently.
Yeah.
That keep popping up. I keep seeing ads for, it's ironically about writing good grammar. It's like an automated service.
Oh, the Grammarly?
Yeah, the grammar whatever.
Dude,
shit.
I installed that shit, and I was just like, it was never pinging because I know how to write, and it was like, okay, well, this is just making my browser run slow now. Like, uninstall. I tell you what, though, those
pops up a lot.
Those Grammarly commercials, those people on the Grammarly commercials. Again, you know what? That kind of ties into the last one where it's like, hey, maybe you learn how to write.
Yeah.
Like, instead of leaning on this fucking browser plugin for the rest of your fucking life to teach you, maybe just like learn. I mean, like, I know it's not fun. I know it's bad and it's boring.
Is fucked or spelling.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I wish autocorrect. The number of people that I see misspelling shit, I wish that autocorrect had done that. You know what? Recently, I've been watching this State of Decay 2 commercial, which has been pissing me off because it's just like, it's a trailer cut together for a game that makes that game look way better than it should. I'm trying to think of just like straight up ads. Like anymore, it's hard because I just don't have that many ads. I tell you what.
There's a lot of 4-minute ads that keep playing before my YouTube videos when I'm not paying attention.
You know what?
They're just infomercials for like exercise machines and shit.
I got a bone to pick. I got some ads that need to be taken down a notch. Do you know what they are?
No.
Fucking podcast ads.
What?
Because I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Oh, you mean just podcasts with ads in them in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and then they're just like, "Hey, everybody, let me talk to you about the Quip toothbrush." And the thing is that it's always like I have a podcast app that lets me skip forward by 30 seconds, and I feel like if you're nice, you make your ad like 1 minute and like 3 seconds long. That way the ad starts, and I'm just like, okay. And I pull out my phone, and I hit 30 seconds. No, it's not over. I hit it again, and it's like, okay, well, this sounds like the end of it, especially if you have music in the background. That's the thing that I like is when people make ads where they have music in the background, because then when you hit the forward buttoning, you stop the music. But I hate having to back up, having to be like, okay, now I got to go back, because it goes forward by 30 seconds and back by 10 seconds. And I'm just like, fucking okay, because they've been trying to sell me the same shit for years, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
Well, you remember I mentioned all of those sponsor names. That's because all of those are on a podcast I listen to at some point.
Like, I keep track of them. I'm a hateful fuck, and I keep track of those ads, and I will never order Nature Box.
I'll never use Blue Apron.
You can keep your fucking sriracha cashews and all your snack easy.
Or the strawberry thing.
We're from Nature Box. You know, the problem with snacking is that you're eating too many bugles. I'm like, quit judging me, podcast. Especially because they always make the person on the podcast say that thing. Like you're just listening to, because I listen to a lot of politics podcasts. So I'm like listening to somebody talk, and they're very smart, and then they're just like, you know, we all have a problem. All of our underwear sucks. The underwear's just it's not comfortable. And I'm like, fuck you.
You're talking about Mack Weldon, aren't you?
I'm talking about MeUndies.com, which sounds
Mack Weldon's another one I've read.
Jesus Lord, fuck off. I don't want my underwear off the internet. Like, and then recently everybody's Quip. It's Quip for everything on my fucking news.
Yes, that's true.
It's like, here's a toothbrush. I'm like, I spent $200 on a fucking dentist toothbrush 3 years ago. Please quit trying to sell me your fucked up battery powered toothbrush. I don't care how good it is. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore.
The worst times these things pop up is when you're listening to a podcast that's trying to talk about something kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Like lore. Lore is the perfect example of this. I'll be listening to lore. They'll be like, they murdered 1 billion people, but you want to know what's crazy? Sleeping on a mattress. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yep. You know what? I'll tell you what one of the biggest offenders that I have. It's fucking ZipRecruiter. Because that's an ad for people that want to hire other people. Like 99% of your audience does not fall into this category. It's like I listen to the Vox shows, and they always have a little ditty that plays in the weeds. And Matt Iglesias, he has got this very specific way of talking. He's like, yeah, you know, 90% of people, when they're looking to hire people online, they just don't know where to go. And now ZipRecruiter, you can find blah, blah. And I'm just like, motherfucker, I don't need to hire people. Who needs to hire people? How many people that need to hire people are like, oh, you know, I was listening to 538 the other day. Let's try out that ZipRecruiter and see if we need to. Like, people need jobs. They don't need to be hiring other people. Fuck off. ZipRecruiter. Like, Jesus.
A lot of domain names as well. Squarespace, domain.com, I think was the other one.
I actually make domain ads, and you know what? We make, like, when I work on Scam School, and especially right now, it used to be that we would have like 1 or 2 ads a month, and they just recently were doing a lot of domain ads. So every week there's a new domain ad. Like this week on Scam School, Bryce and we just did a little skit for a domain ad, and we're going to be doing a lot of skits moving forward. But you know what? Every week we create a new ad. We don't run the same ad. Like the week before last, the episode that went up, I made an old-timey newsreel that was like, news of the world, new domains have come out from the boffins at the lab, and people are getting on their blips to get new ads. Like, it was that, right? So we make specifically custom ads, and you know what? When it's time for me to make one of those ads, I come up with an idea, and I'm like, hey, have you guys done this before? Like, I wanted to do one that was like Brian doing, like, you know, the infomercials where they had they were selling you like a compilation CD.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to do one of those, like dress them up all 8s, and they already did one. So I was like, fuck, all right, I got to come up with a new idea. But yeah, we have a playlist of all the different domain ads that we've made because they're all different. Like some of them are just stock footage. Some of them are very much like I did. Do you watch Scam School?
Sometimes.
There was an episode that we did recently that was called The Impossible Instagram Illusion that I did the ad for. Okay, this one doesn't even have that one. But like this one had one where Brian and I went out to a place and I did I filmed him a bunch of times and then went in and keyed him out. So it's like we've got just a bunch of Brians that are all like walking around and kind of walking in front of each other and doing like weird stuff. But yeah, like every time we do something, it's different. And I feel like that's the thing. I get so tired of listening to the same fucking copy about Quip or Nature Box or Blue Apron.
Like Giant Bomb has the same ad for Lisa mattress. There's so many. The biggest issue is that a lot of them are sponsored by the same person.
Yeah.
And so I've heard like when Audible was like sponsoring damn near everybody at one point. Like I was like, fuck, everyone is sponsored by Audible for some goddamn reason.
I hate Audible. I hate them so much. I hate audiobooks in general, but
1-800-Flowers pops up a lot around Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Same with that strawberry thing.
Yep.
Chocolate covered strawberries. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I talked last time about I was already not happy with Blue Apron until they did that thing with the fucking dead mom thing that I talked about last time. Where I was just like, God, fuck you. But yeah, I don't see. The thing is that I don't watch a lot of.
I used to work under their support.
Oh yeah,
their dishwasher broke and flooded our fucking area.
I skip just about every ad that comes up. Oh yeah, this is the new one. Is that Lemonade Insurance? That's every fucking where I just clicked on a YouTube video to see like what the ad du jour was.
Did I tell you I was on YouTube and lately for some reason when I hit skip ad it plays another ad?
Really?
It has happened to me twice now.
Interesting.
And I can't figure out why.
Yeah, I do feel bad for them because we're so immune to advertisements these days.
A lot of solo ads lately too.
Oh yeah,
a lot of solo ads.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I wish we had more.
I don't have cable right now, so we don't watch as many fucked up commercials as we used to.
Yeah. I feel
they
like
will appear.
All the YouTube ads today have been like Lemonade or movie trailers, and I'm just like,
well, sometimes it's a weird fucking infomercial that's like 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
About like stock markets or some nonsense.
No, wait, I got another one from YouTube. I forgot about this one. It's the gun lobbyists.
Oh God,
who have that thing where it's like the cop pulled me over and he said, "Do you have a gun in the car?" And I said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then it's like, what happens next? Watch the full video to find out. And it's like, I don't fucking care what happens next. I don't care. Do you take your gun? Do you not take your gun? You're alive. You spoiled the ending. I know you're not dead. So there's
that would be a great twist.
Yeah. Turns out this guy is dead. It's a dramatic reenactment of the person, but...
It's like that South Park joke where Cartman at the very end of the commercial, he's like, I was already dead. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on oneofus.net. I do a lot of reviews there as well as episodes of The Gathering. We're supposed to record another one this Saturday, actually.
Cool. Yeah. And mail@ragesite.com is the email address to get questions into. Get them in now, or we'll haunt you with YouTube ads. Ooh.
Blue Apron.
Oh, the mom is dead. She's dead in that ad.
She can't cook for you.